I think history was just made. You see this book? Very beautiful book. I got the amazing opportunity to host a live interview with the author Sara Wolf, but she's not just any author. Not only did she write a super unique sci-fi romantasy, but she's also a VTuber. This book was written by an anime girl, and let me tell you, this interview was one of the most fun conversations I've had in a while, even with my friends. I'm sorry, friends. But enough of my yapping. You guys go enjoy the interview and take it away, Past Gavin. Step one, give a little bit of an introduction because I think everybody is here because we did the book club read.
Sure thing. Everybody's here already?
I don't know.
Do you want to just yap? Do you want to just like yap? We can just like, we don't got to go straight into the interview. We can yap.
We can yap.
If they need time to get settled, you know?
I don't know what's going on, but it's lagging. Like I'm lagging a little bit.
You got to move around to make sure that you're not, you know what I mean?
It's okay. Wait, hold on. I want to take a video of this.
Do a little dance. Do a little dance
later because stream's fine, but I don't know what's going on with me, but I am.
Should I move?
Yeah. I am lagging out like crazy. But it's fine. I'm looking at you. I don't even need to look at my own camera.
Okay. I do that all the time. I look at my own camera. I don't think anybody does it when they're like taking pictures or streaming, you know? I think people who say that they don't look at their own camera while they're streaming are liars.
That's totally true.
I'm liars.
I find it inconvenient because I try to always have my software open so I can see myself, and I try to have chat right under my camera so that
you want a monitor, yeah.
It's.
But you don't want to stare at yourself. I know a lot of people that do that. I have a lot of friends that stare, and I'm like, stop looking at yourself. Look at the camera.
I think that's the funny thing for me because I just got followed. Red Drum, thanks for the follow. I just realized that I'm gonna hear all the alerts. I thought I muted those, but whatever.
No, keep them on. The interview will be better if you're distracted, to be honest.
That's true. I think what's great about this is my last author interview was with Sarah A. Parker, the author of When the Moon Hatched.
Oh, she's lovely. I actually did a panel with her at
she's awesome.
Oh, what was it called? I don't remember the con, but I recently did a panel with her in Washington D.C. and she was fantastic. She's
so great. I love her. And but she's also not in this sphere at all. And so it was more like I was trying to keep it more meeting like.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to talk to someone who kind of knows.
You can say
Twitch
she's a bit older. It's fine.
Exactly.
Everybody loves old women nowadays. Old women are fantastic. We love you, older women. I want to kiss older women. I want to kiss older women. Is this okay to admit on stream?
I agree with you. Like I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah. Hi everybody. That's a great intro actually. Hi everybody. I'm Sara Wolf and I want to kiss older women. Hi. I'm the author of Heaven Breaker and the upcoming book Hell Runner. I'm working on it right now. Don't worry. How's everybody tonight?
This is fucking amazing.
Hi.
Don the ears. I'm not putting the fox ears during my interview.
You should because I'm an anime girl and you should. Solidarity. We have to stand together in these trying times, Gavin.
Oh my god. You're right.
We have to stand together.
Right. Let me yeah, no, you're right.
Fox ears, fox ears, fox ears, fox. Good job, chat. Good job.
You know,
yeah!
This was where are my headphones?
Yeah!
So,
let's go!
I did a hey, Mistral's in here, another VTuber friend of mine.
Hello, Mistral, hi.
I did a while ago, I did a stream where I had chat by my cat's toys.
Oh.
And the fox ears found their way into that.
Somehow, yeah, because you do, once you start going down the cat toys, you get weird furry recommendations. Shout out to the furries. I was saved, actually, my life was saved by a furry at a rave once. Yeah. So like I was like dehydrated. It was like my first rave ever, like not to derail the conversation, but it was my first rave ever and I didn't know that like dancing in a bunch of people would dehydrate me. So I was passing out, like actively passing out. And the next thing I know, I'm being picked up by this big orange furry in a suit and being brought to the medical tent. And like, it was like a halo was around him in the sun. He must have been way hotter than me. Like I was overheating, but he was in a full suit. And he gives me a wet wipe and a bottle of water, and he just leaves. Not even a single word.
Oh my god.
And that's my hero, Tony the Tiger. I don't know if he was Tony, but he looked like Tony. And here we are today. So everybody say thank you, Tony the Tiger.
Oh
thank you, Tony.
God.
Also, I'm a wolf, everybody. Hi, my name's Sara Wolf, and thus I am a wolf. I just want to let you know, don't get it twisted. I'm not a fox. Anyway, hi. Hey.
I was not prepared for this to be as amazing as it's been thus far.
Thanks.
I am thoroughly entertained, and I imagine chat is as well.
Thanks.
I do want to get a couple. We can spitball,
questions
go
now, I
around.
think.
We can tangent if we want, but
Well,
I do
you
want to
should
get
ask
this
them.
started.
You should ask them. Here, let me teach you how to do this. You ask them.
Okay.
Crowd, are you warmed up? Chat, are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you warm? Are you limber? Are you greased up? Don't ask that.
Or don't ask
ask
oiled up
that.
either. Both of those, no.
Don't ask oiled up. Terrible.
Nope. I've noted.
Are they ready?
Yeah. I think they're ready. Yes.
Okay.
So,
we can commence the questions.
So I always open my interviews one time with this very large question, okay? What is your favorite color?
Poopy brown.
That's a okay. Wait,
Poop color.
but there's a lot of
Poop
variety.
color.
There's a lot of variety in that, though.
No, actually, my favorite color is I like a good red.
A good red.
A
Simple.
maroon.
Maroon?
Maroon is the French
Maroon?
say.
Okay.
But also
Is it actually
brown
French, or is it just a French accent of maroon?
I just did a French accent for it because it's funny, but you can't keep blowing up my spot like that because otherwise the comedy is gonna get killed midair. Like you're gonna kill it while it's happening, while it's being born, and I need you to quit that. So
You're right. You're right.
yeah. So it's maroon, and then I like black, and then I like blue, but maroon is probably it.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah. What's
have-
yours?
Mine is famously, to the people that know me, purple, but
Oh,
I also like a good orange and a green, and
and orange. Oh, green.
I like colors. All of
Color's
them.
nice. Color's good.
All of
I
them.
should say, can you ask that question again, actually, because I need to shill. Can you ask that question again?
Yes. Yes. Big question. What is
Yeah.
your favorite color?
Blue and gold, like the cover of Heaven Breaker by Sara Wolf.
Yes.
Published
Right
by
there.
Red Tower Books. Buy
Right
it
there.
now. Out now, people.
Right there.
There it is.
Actually,
That's my
okay.
girl.
I had some unbook related. I have a question specifically about the physical book. All right.
Yes.
That
Shoot.
I can totally reach without taking off my headphones. There you go. So, first of all, I don't know how much of a hand you have in the physical production of these books, but I have never held a book in my hands that felt as good as holding this book. It is like the greatest shape form of a book ever.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. Just holding it feels good. It's like
Yeah, there was a lady who came up to me at a con. I forget the name of it because I've got holes in my brain. But there's a lady who came up to me at a con at my table, and she was like, "This, not to be rude, but this is the most annoyingly beautiful book I've ever. Like, this is an obnoxiously beautiful book." And I was like, "Thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me." Wow.
it's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Did you show them the end papers? Show them the end papers.
yeah, I have they're what I've been using for
Ta-da.
that little background because they are so beautiful. And this
Yeah,
edition
shout out to Red
is-
Tower.
This is Red Tower has some of the nicest special editions.
They just know what they're
Like,
doing, you know?
They really do. But the question about this book is, first of all, the sprayed edges on this book are the most beautiful sprayed edges I've ever had
Yeah,
in my
They go
collection.
hard.
And I'm a total fourth wing simp. I have too many editions. I'm chronically
Oh, are
irresponsible.
you excited? Did you read Onyx? Did you read Onyx?
Not all of it. I'm only halfway because I'm trying to savor it. I'm really trying to.
Skewer him, Chad.
Say-
Get him. He didn't read all of Onyx in one day. Kill him. Kill this
It's
man.
real.
Twitch.com, don't ban me. Kill this man.
My algorithm is already killing me
Minecraft.
because people are already
Okay.
so over Onyx videos that I'm so behind. But
Oh, dang.
these edges, gorgeous. The question I have,
Yeah.
what is on the edge? Because I thought it was a steed, but then I looked and there's a sword, and I was like, the steeds use. So
Yeah. So here's the fun thing about being an author is sometimes they're like, hey, can you just fill out this sheet for us and give us some motifs and some
Okay.
vague descriptions? Like, they're like, what is the book about? And I tell them, and then they're like, are there any motifs in the book? And I told them knights. And they
Okay.
seem to have run and taken that as far as they could possibly go. Believe it or not, getting a sketch of a giant robot is a bit expensive, and something that, as much as I love publishers, they really love to not pay money. They love to pay money and then not pay money. So I was like, we should get a mech illustration and blah, 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 blah. And there was none of that, which is fine because I'm okay with the final concept. That, I assume, is a knight.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of people were confused about that. They're like, is that the steed? I'm like, no, the steeds look like aliens. The steeds look like Macross gun. If you go look at Macross robots, that's pretty much what they look like.
That's what I thought. I when I wrote that question, because I have a little question sheet because is that professional, unprofessional? I don't know. But
no, you should. I'm breaking. So here's the thing, Sarah A. Parker, you got to be professional with. From now on, you got to be super professional. Nobody, you can't make poop jokes with. You know what I mean? Like you can't do this going forward. You can't wear those ears.
True.
You got to retire them after this.
I have to enjoy this moment. This moment, it has. Yes. This is the only authentic me I will ever be in an interview ever.
The only time.
Yeah,
everything else is gonna be stick up the butt professional. Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was writing
I'm sorry. Continue. Yeah.
You're totally good. I was hoping, and I was just like, please let it be a funny story where they just did it, and you were like, okay. Because that is just a funny story. I don't know. It is so beautiful though, and it fits. It works vibe-wise. Like I look at it, I'm like, yeah. I don't have to think about it too hard. Like, it fits the energy. So very cool. Very cool. Very pretty book.
There's more fantasy in the packaging than there is sci-fi. But I think that's a deliberate choice because a lot of times sci-fi packaging is a bit difficult to sell.
Yeah.
And it's for like older, usually like the sci-fi I've seen is pretty much for like older people. I think Iron Widow is probably the only other book, or not only, but one of the few other books before mine that kind of paved the way for sci-fi, giant robot sci-fi. So, it's so pretty.
I was gonna go into it because Red Tower publishes a lot of romantasy, and one of the things I loved about this book was that it felt like romantasy in a lot of the ways that I like romantasy, but it also felt completely new and unique in the sci-fi elements, which is a lot of it, obviously. And I love, like, sci-fi is one of my favorite genres of books. It's just not the one I usually talk about because people are kind of like about it.
It's not as popular right now. I mean, romantasy is having its moment, right? So you got to let it have its moment.
Yeah. But I mean, I thoroughly enjoy this book because it channeled the parts of romantasy I love while doing the sci-fi that I also loved, which like you don't see in books because it is really right now a romantasy era. Everything is romantasy, and yada yada.
Yeah, I feel like when I signed with them, I have other romantasies with them. So I had not with Red Tower, but with Entangled, which is where my editor now works at Red Tower. She also used to work at Entangled. She still does, I think, Stacy. So I have a romance fantasy with them with Entangled that's called Bring Me Their Hearts. So I'm not new to romance. It's a trilogy. I started writing it in like 2018, so it's a bit shall we say older. But it's like it's got a not like other girls scene, which I still cringe at, but anyway, it's fine. We live and laugh and learn. And so so I have a romance fantasy, and they were like, hey, they approached me, do you want to do something new? And I was like, I literally left my old agent who sold the romance fantasy. I left her because I started writing this giant robot book in the middle of quarantine, and I was like, there's no way that my agent's going to be able to sell it. I need somebody who knows their sci-fi. So I left my agent for it, got a new agent. You know, very scary time in my life not to have an agent as an author. But yeah, it paid out in the end. It worked out in the end, and I really love Caitlin. She knew exactly what I was going for. So I don't know what possessed me. I should have just kept doing romance fantasy, but I was like, I want giant robots. So
now you gotta find a unique little place to be, and then you get to say, okay, well, this is me. And then when it becomes a thing, you are the mother of this. You are the founder. Of this. Thing.
When I signed with them for Heavenbreaker, Fourth Wing wasn't even out. So we had no idea it was going to be as big as it was.
That's so cool.
So like Fourth Wing wasn't even out when I signed. I had no idea. Red Tower, they were offering good terms and stuff like that. So I was like, sure. And it worked out, and they just have really become a behemoth in the publishing industry literally in 3 years, which is kind of crazy. But I'm really proud to be with them.
Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to actually, I was going to ask it later, but who cares? Structure is stupid. I have not read your romantasy, your first trilogy. Is it a trilogy? Is it over, or were you gonna write more in that?
It's a trilogy. There's no more.
How would you like sell that, or like make us want to read it from, being the author? Like, what is it about? I don't know anything about it. I wanted to ask you personally.
Oh yeah, sure. It's about essentially it's a girl. It's about magical zombies. There are
I'm
witches
sold.
in this world, and there are yeah, like there
I'm
are
sold.
witches in this world. Witches, and then there's humans, and the witches sometimes take the heart out of a human and put it in a magic jar, and that creates what's called a heartless. And the heartless
Okay.
are unkillable zombies. Essentially, they're still human, but they're unkillable zombies who need to eat fresh meat in order to sustain themselves. They can't go too far from their witch, and if their heart gets destroyed, they die. So they're basically immortal. They can grow back, and they act like the witches' soldiers and foot soldiers against the humans. And so this story is about a girl who's a heartless, and she became a heartless, and her witch is like, hey, listen, I'll give you back your heart. You can become human again. I'll give you back your heart. But the catch is you have to steal the prince's, quite literally, steal the prince of the kingdom's heart and give it to me so I can make him a heartless, so I can make him a political hostage.
Shit.
So yeah, that's the premise, and then it gets kind of crazy from there. There's a lot that happens after that, but I'm not spoiling it. But it's a funnier book. It's definitely a funnier book. It's got a lot of Buffy. If you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you'll probably like this. If you like Clueless, you'll probably like this. Any of the old people movies that were considered like witty at the time, right? I like to say that I'm like Joss Whedon if I wasn't an ass. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, that's kind of that story. It's good. It's 3 books. The third one made me cry a lot, and the second one is very introspective and a little bit dark. But I look back fondly on all those books. They're a portrait of my life at the time. So
And they got you here.
They did. I got on the New York Times bestselling list for the very first time. Or no, not with that book. Never mind. I got my books mixed up. My bad. Sorry. When you've written like 12 of them, it gets weird.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
That.
Oh, it was my first Kirkus star. The second book was my first Kirkus star ever.
I don't know what that is. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
so Michelin star restaurants?
Yes, I'm in. I'm locked in now.
Kirkus is like that, but for books, and they're very picky, and I got really excited, and that's why
That's
Heaven Breaker
awesome.
has one too. Yeah, Heaven Breaker has one too.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Not to brag.
All
but
right,
yeah.
no brag. Do it.
Yeah.
You're allowed to.
I got a star.
I gotta say, I gotta compliment you on these, like all of your ideas from what you just said and this book, obviously, are so unique. Like they really are. I can't think of, and maybe I haven't read every book in the world, but I can't think of stories that I could be like, that's just like that story. Like they feel, and I'm now gonna read your trilogy because it sounds awesome, but
Thanks.
it just feels like a completely new thing, right? And I think a lot of books nowadays, I'm not going to name any names or books titles, but a lot are very similar to other books.
we support books. Yeah, we
Exactly.
support books and authors. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's a nice breath of fresh air to be able to sit down and read something and be like, wow, I've never read anything like this before.
It's also a brush of fresh air.
It is. It could be both.
I have dyslexia, so I get you. It's cool.
Good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a really nice way of you saying that you're off your rocker, but I really appreciate that. And I do things my way all the time, and sometimes it's to my own detriment, but I'm really glad that people appreciate the uniqueness of the book, and I'm glad I can bring a little bit of freshness wherever I go,
Yeah, I think that doing things your own way is the best you can do, because I think if you just copy everybody else at a certain point, you're like, well, what do I do now? It's like, this is everything. I think when you're authentically you, that's the best you're going to create the best stuff, right?
Yeah, honestly, I just wrote that book because I wanted to write about giant robots. I don't know if anybody noticed, but my love for the giant robots is #1 in that book. I love them dearly, and I think they're really, really cool, and I think they're manifestations of the inner ego and the id fighting, and it's giant robots are actually a manifestation of the pilot's abilities and will made manifest in our physical reality, and I think that's really cool.
You've really thought this through, but you're the author, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Well, speaking of books and supporting books and authors and loving that whole community, I want to ask you the most unfair question anybody ever asked someone in the book community. Who's your favorite book or author? Who's your favorite book and what's your favorite author?
Who's my favorite book? Gulliver's Travels. No, I'm just kidding. My favorite book is Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay.
That's my favorite book.
Good pick.
My favorite book is the Wind on Fire trilogy.
Okay.
It's a very, hold on. The author's name escapes me at the moment. I apologize. I should know this. The Wind on Fire trilogy. I spelled trilogy wrong, so if you guys are doubting yourself on whether or not you could be an author, you definitely can. I spelled it with 2 O's, so it's triology.
I never type things right.
Yes, William Nicholson wrote the Wind Singer trilogy. It's called, the first one's The Wind on Fire, but it's my favorite fantasy series ever. It's about psychic twins and how they save their village, but it goes on in the second and third book to be more of a Bildungsroman, where we watch these kids grow up and learn and get a little gang around them, and they fall in love, and it's like all the good parts of HP without being HP.
All right.
My second favorite. Hold on, I have second favorite, because that is unfair. You can't just have one.
It's a messed up question.
You know what I mean? You can't. It's really rude.
It's unethical.
I'm reading the Trade or Borrow Cormorant right now, and that's really incredible. I think it's probably in my top 3 at least. So shout out to Trade or Borrow Cormorant. Love you.
That is a difficult word.
Cormorant.
Cormorant.
It's like a bird. Hold on, I'll link it to you. It's also a naval title. The Trader Barrow Cormorant. It's a British. I also believe it's like a British. What do you call it? Like naval terminology. Cormorant. And the British probably say it like cormorante or something like that, because they love to butcher words. Sorry, shout out to Britain. Love you.
You don't have
Hate
to
your beans on toso. That's weird. Hate that thing.
Yeah,
Scones are fire. Sorry, scones. Those are fire.
You know that not only did the Boston Tea Party happen, but America made the tea bag. We created the tea bag. We perfected tea.
Whoa, so we got the ultimate revenge.
Yeah, take that, Britain.
Well, tea bags have microplastics in them, so actually,
the
tea
paper
bags have
ones.
microplastics in them.
What about the paper
So
ones?
I think-
Are there paper ones, or are they all microplastics now?
I think they're all microplastics. Some of them are silk if you really want to get serious about it, but like
That's too much. Not in this economy.
I think we might be putting
Fucking silk tea bags?
microplastics, inside of people, which is awesome.
That's exciting. It makes sense now why my family has been increasingly just using loose tea. It adds up.
Yeah, loose tea is fun too. The ritual of loose tea is a fun thing.
The ritual of matcha is my favorite.
Matcha's pretty good. It's got so much caffeine though. Holy moly.
I don't have caffeine ever. Just the ritual is fun. The caffeine gives me panic attacks and I break down. I can't do it.
Matcha's got a lot of it. Be careful.
Yeah, it's good though. And back in the day when I still had panic attacks but was more brave about it, I did have matcha a lot and it was awesome. But nowadays
Ride
I'm
the
like
lightning. Ride the lightning, man. Do it, you know? If you're making a
Yes.
matcha cake, maybe it gets a bit in your nose a little bit. Who cares? It's all goes in the same place in the end.
Exactly.
You know? So
Well,
the bloodstream.
On that note, on the note of the bloodstream, who's your favorite music artist?
I like a lot of different people. That's kind of unfair to also ask.
Yeah, it is. Or someone you've been listening to recently also works.
Well, the person I listen to the most nowadays, I think, is Ash Nico. Really like Ash Nico.
Okay.
Do you know her?
I don't.
She's got blue hair. She did the Arcane song. She did.
God, Arcane is so good.
Yeah, Weed Killer. Paint the Town Blue is what she did from Arcane. But Weed Killer's a really good song. I listen to Weed Killer a lot writing Hembreger. But yeah, Ash Nico, I would say like Spirit Box is my favorite too. They're a heavy metal / screamo band.
I have a lot of people in chat who like heavy metal.
Yeah, I used to go to goth raves when I was a wee baby. I used to go to goth raves.
It's fucking awesome.
So a lot of the stuff nostalgia stuff I like to listen to is dark techno, and like, you know, anything that you would find in a Blade movie is pretty much what I like to listen to. But yeah.
Well.
Actually, wait, ask me again. Ask me that question again. Hold on, I gotta find your answer.
On the note of, I'm not, that doesn't make sense. Who's your favorite music artist?
Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth. That's true.
And Jimmy Buffett.
Both fantastic answers. My community rewatched Shrek recently. That was an experience.
Did you guys like it?
Yeah, of course. It's Shrek.
Did they like it?
It's Shrek.
Yeah, but Shrek 2 is better than Shrek.
Oh no. Chat, she's gonna hate
I
me.
genuinely think Shrek 2 is the only sequel to an animated movie ever that eclipses the first one. I'm sorry, it's true.
I haven't
When
seen
she starts
Shrek
singing
2.
I Need a Hero, you're telling me that's not better?
I haven't seen Shrek 2.
Well, you know what to do, chat. Force him to watch Shrek 2 immediately.
They've made me watch actually so many movies. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what the legality of doing that on Discord is, but until I get slapped with an email,
I mean, nobody
I'll keep
has
doing
to
it.
know is the thing. Stop talking about it.
Talking about what?
No one, we all watch movies legally here, chat. Nod your heads.
Of course.
All of our movies are legal. Yes, we follow the legalities
And we also
of the copyright
love
system.
Netflix. We love Netflix.
And we also love, we all
love
have a
Netflix.
Netflix account individually.
We all have an individual
Yes.
Netflix account, and we do not hold a grudge against them because of Henry Cavill's situation with The Witcher. We do not have any problems.
No,
with
every choice
Henry.
Netflix makes is good, and
They're
we
geniuses.
Love Netflix.
I made a video totally bashing Netflix.
Yay!
Have you read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder?
No.
They made a show about it, and it was really bad compared to the book, and I
Oh.
had to speak my truth.
Yeah, I heard Discovery Witches is interesting too. The Discovery Witches show, but I haven't gotten around to it.
I saw that was a show, and then I saw it was a book, and I was like, oh, it's a book. I'm gonna read that instead. And I still haven't, but I will probably.
Yeah.
Eventually.
They're making a show of Fourth Wing.
I am so excited. Some of the fan casting got me nervous, but I'm so excited for that show, even though I feel like
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan's production company.
which is good because Michael B. Jordan knows what he's doing, usually.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I just like him as an actor. I'm not actually sure his professional career beyond
Yeah,
that. But
fair. To be perfectly honest with you, I would like Mr. Peel of Get Out fame and Us fame to do a Heaven Breaker because he knows scary so well. Like, and I think there are parts. I think Heaven Breaker is a very scary book. Like my agent was like, you know, this is kind of a horror book, right? And I was like, yes.
yeah, there were so many moments where I was like, what the fuck did I just read with my eyes?
Yeah.
What just happened? And I think we might share a brain cell because have you ever seen Severance?
No.
First of all, amazing, very Black Mirror-esque. But I recently made a video about that, and I was talking about horror and Jordan Peele and Get Out, actually specifically in that, like 3 days ago. And it was the first time I had thought about it in ages. So funny you bring that up. But
Yeah. What's the one with the cowboys he did?
that's not
Cowboy.
Peele?
What's it called? Oh, it's called Nope.
Oh yeah, no, but the giant, the UFO
I
looking
watched
thing.
that on a plane and I was like, I need you for Heaven Breaker, sir.
I would be terrified to watch something like that on a plane.
Yeah, it was very scary.
Horror scares me. I'm not. I
love it.
I think most
I watch it a lot.
people do. I think I'm in the minority when it comes to horror.
You should watch Barbarian.
I think somebody told me to watch that, and
Tell
I was
him to
like,
watch Barbarian, chat. Get him to watch Barbarian. Watch it together for Halloween. I promise. You guys know what it's about. I see you. You know what it's about. Don't tell him what it's about. Just make him watch Barbarian, okay?
someone
Okay, thank
reminded
you.
me, and then I'll find a way to undermine us between now and October.
No!
I'll do my
You
best.
must watch. Anyway, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen other Jordan Peele movies beyond Get Out, but I really, really like Get Out. Like a lot. I watched it and I was
Nope.
like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Nope. I remember because I saw the trailer for that one. I was like, this is actually kind of cool because I like when they make it interesting. Like, I like Alien, for example, is interesting to me because, even though it's horror. And there are some people in my community who are like, it's not horror, it's fucking horror. But do you agree, or is this a contentious?
I think it's monster horror, which is a specific genre of horror. Yeah.
I will accept this.
Yeah.
this work. That makes sense.
It's monster horror.
Monster
Yeah.
horror. I like
Sci-fi
that.
horror.
And like Dark Souls and stuff like that. That's kind of like dark and gritty. But you know,
Yeah.
stuff like Axe Murderers, not as up my alley.
I don't like gore either. But you should watch Nope and you should watch Barbarian because they're both very complex. Narrative-wise, they're both really good. Especially Barbarian. It's got 2 villains actually, and you don't really realize it till the end.
All right. Well, mods, somebody DM me. Remind me of this.
Yeah.
And you should check out Severance because Severance is really freaking good. It's a good show.
Yay.
All right. This is fun. So, I'm not sure if you noticed.
If it's not, you can always hang up. You know that, right? There's a little hang up button right there
I
on the
could
bottom.
always do that.
You could always I'm just telling you got the
And if-
freedom, you got free will.
If this was our second or third call, I would totally just do it right now to be funny. But I'm still like, I don't want to mess anything up, so I'm
Okay,
not
should
gonna
I
do
do
that.
it? Okay. All right.
Wait.
Next question. Next question.
I don't want any technical
Listen, I'll commit
difficulties.
to the bit. That's the number one thing I always do. Commit to the bit.
And then
Don't
we
tempt me.
And then we sit here for half an hour trying to make sure the camera works.
Trying to get it working again. Yeah, that would be so sick and awesome. That would be so
great.
cool.
So I'm not sure if you noticed about yourself, but you're very innovative, right? You are
Yes.
an anime girl, and I have a question. I have a question. I would imagine that means you like anime.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad that was a good guess. I wasn't sure. So what would you say is your favorite, or like one that you would always recommend to people?
All of the anime I like are one of two categories: sad or relaxing. So I like Yudu Camp. Yudu Camp is about a bunch of girls that like to go out and camp. Yeah. And then I like Angel Beats, which is an
classic.
old.
Well,
It's a classic, but if I tell you anything, I'll spoil it. So just go watch Angel Beats if you haven't already. I like Madoka Magica. Sad. And then I like Dungeon Meshi, which is cozy and sad.
These are great picks. These are fantastic.
Yep.
Dungeon Meshi was that Wit or was that Mappa? I think that was.
I don't know anything about
Mappa.
anime. I just watch it.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Have you seen Violet Evergarden?
No.
That's sad. And
That's
really
sad.
good. I recommend it to everyone. I cried almost every single episode. It was beautiful.
I do that with The Bear. Have you seen The Bear?
The cooking show?
The cookie show. Every single episode, I end up crying like a baby.
Fuck yeah. I have not seen The Bear, but clips.
You should watch The Bear. It gets really good. End of first season, beginning of second.
DM me mods. Remind me.
The third season is okay or whatever, but I cry every time.
But
yeah, what kind of anime do you like?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm judging you.
please, you're gonna have a lot of
Lots
reasons
of pressure.
So, first of all, I used to make anime TikToks. That's how I started. Well, that's not true. I'm in high school. I made music, and then I made anime TikToks, and then
You could not waterboard that information out of me.
I have zero shame and don't care about myself.
Okay, cool.
I tell
just
people
want to let
everything.
you know that.
Like
Yeah.
Like I'm.
Sure.
You can ask me any question.
No,
I'll answer.
continue. I'll pretend I didn't hear that yet.
But I did anime TikTok for a while, and it's real bad. And I hope no one finds it because I had to glow up. I think personally, it was really bad. But for a while there, I marketed myself, and like Don Machi, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon was my shit. And
Okay, so I will hang up the phone. I will leave the call.
hey, this was a different age.
You got another chance. What's the other one? Let's hear it.
That's not my pick. I'm just giving you a little bit of context about how weird I used to be.
Okay.
Looking back, I'm like, okay, objectively, I am just wrong. But
Yeah.
my real answer is, when it comes to anime right now, I was watching Dandadan with my friend, and I was watching Blue Box with my friend. And Dandadan, I don't even know what the fuck is going on in that show. But funny as hell if you can get past certain things that are like, two, Blue Box is like this super wholesome, cute, like sports motivation anime. That's just so good. It's so good. And
that sounds nice.
It's just great. And I'm not a big love triangle guy. And it has one that is done like so well. And so it's something I love. I also love Hell's Paradise, but more the manga than the anime.
Oh, I've watched that one. That one's okay.
I like the manga.
I like the art
really
style.
good. The manga's really good. The anime was inconsistent, but I still liked it enough. Like I was happy with it. But
yeah,
and also
cool. That's not bad.
Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan, and
Demon
the
Slayer's a
shit,
classic.
the basic
Yeah,
stuff.
Demon Slayer's a classic. Yeah.
I'm very easily pleased by media. Like it's not like I like most things for like 99% of the time. So
Yeah,
Unless
you're
it's The
not
Witcher
you're
by
not
Netflix.
you're not a picky critic like most people.
yeah.
Like Chad is. I know you, Chad.
Yeah. I just want joy. I just want to be happy and entertained in my life. That's my goal.
Yeah. That
But-
explains the Court of Flames or whatever. Court of Thrones and Roses. Sorry, was that too bad? Was that too rude?
Hey, here's the
I'm
thing.
sorry, but
Here's the
people
thing.
who have the box set of Court of Thorns and Roses, you are easily entertained. It's like a it's a theory I have, and I think it's right.
Okay, can I tell you something?
Sure.
So I have the original covers and the new covers, and neither of them were bought by me. They were given to me by
Oh,
friends.
good. Okay.
So
Right,
technically,
yeah.
I am free of this, but I also did very much enjoy them. The first one,
Yeah, they're great. The first one's not bad. The first, honestly, that's the only one I read was the first one and half of the second one, and I was like, okay, well, I gave you a book and a half chance, and now I'm done. You know what I mean? Like
the first one I'm very constantly like takes a while for me to give a crap. But same with the Cruel Prince. I love the Cruel Prince, and that first book was a little.
I
rough for
love
me.
the Cruel Prince.
I adore it. I adore it.
Holly
but that,
Black's so good. Yeah.
that she is. But that first book was a little bit slow at the start, and then shit hit the fan, and then the fan just kept spinning, and it was like, I cannot believe this is still going on. And in every book, I was just losing my mind a little bit more. One of my favorites for sure. Holly Black is a genius.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Sarah J. Maas, I'm not throwing into a shadow of a doubt her impact on this industry. It's just
right,
my
though.
personal taste is not fairy stuff. You know how it
No,
is.
it's
You know
fair.
how it is. She's a legend among us, but do I
She's a
like
legend.
the fairy smut? Do I like it when they're like, yes, let's kiss, and then a glacier falls down because they frick so hard? I don't like it. I think it's corny.
Wait, do you like Fourth Wing?
I'm saying yes.
Good answer.
I love the dragons. Love the dragons
Great
so
answer,
much.
great
Dragons
answer.
cool.
You're
Love
reading the book very
those
well.
guys. Love dragons.
Hey, all I gotta say is I am aware of my problem, and I have.
Yeah, fair.
I'm completely aware of where I am. But anyways.
Yes. I
Um,
love the covers for Fourth Wing, and I love the fan castings. I love the fan art that people do. I'm always like, I love this. You guys are slaying.
Yeah, and I love
Like-
how much people love it. They just get really happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, be happy. Thank you. I'm
Like,
also happy.
listen, my company wants me to say I love every single book they put out, but I'm always going to be true and honest. You know how, like, I'm a book person too. Like, people who write books are just as much as like book readers. Like, we read books, you know.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the books that I have read. Let's
too.
say that, and I love dragons. So I really did enjoy most of Fourth Wing.
I am not under such things, but I'm also I never name things for the most part because I like being nice. But
Oh yeah,
There's
that's
one
fair.
book
I'll
I
be
have
the mean
read.
cop. You be the nice. You be the good cop. I'll be the mean cop. How's
all
that
the
sound?
books by Red Tower, but one that I've read, I very much
All
like.
of the yes, all of the Red Tower books are fantastic. Go buy them all.
They're great.
See, PR. Look at what a good job I'm doing here.
And
for
they're
you.
so
Yes.
nice. They sent me like Fourth Wing merch, and I was DMing with them.
Yeah.
They're so nice to me. So I
They're
do love.
so
They're great.
sweet.
They're great.
Yeah, I got to have lunch with them, and they're just the sweetest ladies ever.
Yeah,
So
they're
shout out,
awesome.
shout out, you guys. Love
So
you.
for real.
Mwah.
Well, in a similar vein to what we were just talking about, video games.
Yay!
You stream. You have streamed in the back of this book. It said that you streamed.
Mm-hmm.
So, video games. What's your favorites, or what have you been playing recently? Anything like that?
My favorite is Fallout. I like Fallout, and I like the Elder Scrolls. I majorly play them. I love them so much. I have like 4,000 hours in Oblivion. It's kind of crazy.
Fuck yeah.
I had 4,000 hours when I was like 12. You know, growing up, when you're a teenager, you don't have anything else to do. You play a lot of video games. But yeah,
True.
Oblivion. I recently played Baldur's Gate. I couldn't get through the third act. I still haven't done the third act, but the first was really good.
That's where I
Yeah.
am. I also can't. Get
I won't
through the
spoil.
I
What class
stopped.
do you play in Baldur's Gate?
Say again.
What class do you play in Baldur's Gate?
Warlock.
Oh heck yeah!
I played that game so much that my friends were concerned about me and my content was suffering, and so I had to stop because I was playing like 10 hours a day. It was not good, not healthy, not sustainable.
Dang.
So I stopped, and then since I stopped, I haven't started again. But
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
I will eventually one day, but I haven't. But I did love that game. Baldur's Gate was amazing. I have a question for you that I think is important. Have you played Skyrim? Have you played Skyrim?
Yes, I played
Okay.
about 1,200 hours now.
In those 1,200 hours, have you ever
Mm-hmm.
beaten the main story?
Yes, many times.
Okay. I have never. I have never beaten it, but I've played thousands of hours too. I've never beat the main story. My friends have never beat the main story.
What?
You just go in, you play for a bunch of hours, you never beat the main story, and the next time you pick it up
Yeah.
again, you do the same thing. And do all the side quests. I do the Thieves Guild, and I do the Brotherhood every single
Oh,
time,
yeah.
and then I stop, and then I come back.
Yeah, DLC.
And-
Yeah.
And you know, do mods. I do the College of Winterfell. Or that's not Game of Thrones, but never beat
Winterhold.
it. Winterhold. Thank you. but I never beat it, and I need to. One day I will do that. I just told my friend earlier the other day. I was like, man, I have to eventually beat this game because I cannot say I'm a real gamer without doing that. Cool. Those are good choices, though. I also liked Oblivion. I haven't beat that one either.
You should try Morrowind.
Morrowind.
That's the one that came before Oblivion. It's a bit janky, but it's really fun. I recently finished it. It's really fun.
I was thinking about trying some of the older ones and then running. I mean, it's hard because like you probably should run it the original way, the nostalgic way, but at the same time, I'm like, they have so many mods now that like make things like upgrade graphics or something.
Here's the way you do it. You play once through vanilla, and then you add mods if you want.
That's true. Most games I never. You're right. What am I saying? I never mod.
Yeah, there's a right way to do things, and it's my way.
It's true. You're intelligent.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
You're not wrong though. I always play things unmodded, and then my friends are like, "Why didn't you mod Stardew? Why didn't you mod Baldur's Gate?" And it's like, because I want to have the vanilla experience of this game first, and then I'll mod it.
That's understandable. Yeah.
But yeah.
Stardew Valley is a whole other thing, though. That's a lot. Stardew Valley is a lot.
It's a lot, but it's a lot of goodness and joy.
Are you excited for Chocolatier? Haunted Chocolatier?
I'm so excited for Haunted Chocolatier. I'm like.
It's gonna be good.
I cannot believe one dude made that game. I can't, considering
Well, he had a wife, I think. I think he had a wife supporting him the entire time, so that helps usually. Somebody to cook your food
That's a good
and like
point.
do your
no
lunch.
life in the basement.
I mean, a lot of creativities throughout history, right?
That's
were
true.
supported by their wives.
That's
Me
true.
included. Just kidding. That's not me, but God, I wish.
Hey, one day. I think that, yeah, I'm just every time I open that game, I'm beyond like, it's so good, and there's so many like amazing, I don't want to say amazing, there's so many big AAA games that just are not as enjoyable as that, simply just are not as good as that game, and
yeah,
I don't get it.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is one you should try if you like Baldur's Gate.
The new
Kingdom
one?
Come Deliverance, the new one just came out. You should try that in a couple weeks. You should try also Pillars of Eternity if you've never played Pillars of Eternity.
I have not. Mods, whenever she recommends something, DM me.
Yeah, it's very similar to Baldur's Gate, Pillars of Eternity.
Okay.
Divinity Original Sin is also very similar to Pillars of Eternity.
That's also
Baldur's
Leviathan,
Gate.
right? Same developers?
Yeah. I think so. Divinity Original Sin 2 is a very good game, and it plays almost exactly the same way, so I would recommend it.
Heck yeah. All right. Well,
yeah.
Adding more to my list. I love games. You know, the one thing I've done consistently throughout my content career is stream, and it's weird because I've always done different niches, and it's always been no matter what niche I'm doing, I'm streaming and chatting and doing games. And
yeah,
you know, that's why you talked about your whole VTube author thing, and I am trying to do something similar with books, and because it's like there's not a lot of book creators who also live stream consistently. That's not really a thing because book creators are, you know, it's largely a female field, a lot of women creators, and doing lifestyle stuff, and you know that makes sense. It's awesome. It's a great community, but I want to mix it up a little bit. I want to be like, first of all, I am a guy in the community, which is already a little bit different. But you know, I want to be able to bring my own thing to it because it's fun. I like talking. I like hearing myself talk. I like people hearing me talk and acting like they care. It's all a great thing.
Wow, Narcissism Simulator 2025 live, ladies and gentlemen. No,
I'm very humble, trust me.
Very humble. Clearly very humble. Number one trait.
Number one trait. Nobody's as humble as I am.
Good trait for streamers to be humble. Yes.
Humble.
Everybody knows streamers are humble. Yes.
Yes, all of us. I'm humble and delusional, both.
Delusion helps, yeah. Delusion helps a lot.
I think delusion is the key to success. I think you have to be able to believe that you'll be successful to be successful. I think that's a very important trait.
Yeah, or either that or you delude yourself into thinking that no matter what anybody does, you're to try and stop you, or no matter what the world does to try and stop you, you're just gonna make it happen no matter what. So
a lot of confidence. Either delusion or confidence.
They're the same.
They're the same. That's a trick question. I knew that. I knew that. I was just testing you.
Oh, okay. You're testing me. All right, got it.
For sure. Yeah. Keep you on your toes.
All right, Frederick Nietzsche. All right, Socrates. All right.
Socrates.
Keep the philosophical questions coming. I'm ready.
Okay, philosophical. Yeah. What inspired you to create this story and the whole idea of scattered space stations? Where did it come from? Where in your brain did this spawn?
Well, I started thinking about giant robots, and
As one does.
as one does, and my brain was like, well, what if we called the giant robots steeds? I watched A Knight's Tale, and it was like, we love giant robots, but
Great
what if
movie.
we called them steeds? And I was like, well, why would we call them steeds, right?
Why the
We
fuck
call
not?
them steeds because we ride them. We call them steeds because it's a war? Question mark? Question mark? And
mark.
so, war against who? How does it work? Why are these steeds so important? Everything sort of snowballed from there, where it's like we
Okay.
made stations. You know, why is this station that I'm setting this on so unique? I don't know. It started differently. It started with steeds. Okay, my brain went giant robots. What if we call them steeds?
Okay.
And then my brain went, what if war? And then
Okay.
my brain goes, main character revenge. Cool.
Okay.
And I was like, yes. So where do we put main character revenge? And my brain went, well, giant robots on planet hampered by a little something called gravity. So if you have giant robots on a planet, they're always going to be affected by gravity unless you have some crazy anti-gravitational technology going on.
True.
And I was like, well, what if the simpler answer is, instead of just of some crazy gravitational technology, what if space? What if giant robots in space? And then, okay, well, main character can't live in space. So main character station? Main character station?
Station.
Main character station, why giant robots fighting inside? Because why robots be giant? Because robot be small to fight too. And then my brain goes, well, what if big
You're
robot
a board
because
entertainer.
yeah, what? Anyway, a big robot because big creature fighting, killing,
Yeah.
right? And
Tracks.
then so then and then it happened. And that's how it happened.
It's beautiful. That's
So-
art. Yeah, no, you're a creative
Thank you.
genius. Makes sense.
Thank
It all
you.
makes sense. Now, similar vein with the creation of this book.
Yeah.
The names, where the names come from. Like Sonali and Dravik, that is unique names. Haven't heard those before. Where are we getting them?
Sonali's actually a real world name. I didn't realize this until I looked it up, but Sonali's actually an Indian name, I believe.
Okay.
But I didn't know that. I just I wanted something that sounded vaguely sci-fi but also medieval. So I was like, sin, like synapse. And then I went, what's a feminine ending? So I did Ali, and it came out to be Sonali. A lot of the names in the books are bastardizations of medieval names. So you've got Elizabeth with 3 Z's or 2 Z's, you know what I mean? You've got like Caitlin with like, well, not Caitlin, but like Charlotte with S's instead of C's. So I wanted medieval in space, and so that's where a lot of the names came from.
And it really works. I
Thanks.
look at Sonali and Dravik and I totally see what you mean. Like you captured that very well, I think.
Thanks.
Cool.
The whole book is about old versus new. And I had a feeling, I don't know, I have this idea always that history just repeats itself.
Oh,
And
it
no matter
does,
how
yeah.
far we get away from ourselves as humans, no matter how much our technology evolves, we remain the same. So that's the idea with Heavenbreaker, is like I wanted to be in a far future sci-fi, but I wanted it to be grounded and familiar in a way that we knew. So I wrote a book where the people are so desperate that they've reverted to a sort of feudalist society, basically.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you aren't wrong with history repeating itself. So that's a great theme, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, it captures it, you know, it creates a book that is a great bridge for the fantasy to sci-fi genre, which I think is needed because there's a lot of great sci-fi books. And I think you know, fantasy is getting the spotlight right now. And you know, online there's a lot of people who hate on romantasy and hate on the fairy smut and hate on blah blah blah. But I think Brandon Sanderson said a great thing when he was doing a talk about how it gets people into reading, and it's awesome because then people are reading books, and then
Absolutely.
what happens when you're reading books? Well, you read books and you find other books, and so it's like I think it's a really good transition book for readers who are trying to, you know, get out of their comfort zone a little bit while staying in relatively similar waters. So it's something to really like connect with and expand.
Thank you. It's also a thing to note too, like when you see people hating on like what's popular, the pendulum always swings, right? Like something's gonna get popular, people are gonna hate on it. Something's gonna get popular, people are gonna hate on it. It's gonna die down. Something else is gonna be. It's a constant cycle. That's always gonna happen. Like if sci-fi gets big, people will start hating on sci-fi. Like that's a guarantee. So if it gets popular, there will eventually be a degrade and a downfall and a decline, and that's just the natural order of how people are, and there's nothing wrong with it. And honestly, like the hate only makes people, it only makes you grow stronger. And
it's publicity too. It's free publicity at the end of the day.
for sure. Yeah.
And I really don't like rage bait creators, but I also know that, there's nothing you can do about it. People are gonna do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah.
And you just
some
kinda have
books
to
are
be
not
like,
for some people.
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Some people, books are not. Books are for you. Don't get me wrong, but no writer worth their salt writes for an audience. They write for themselves.
Yeah.
So the fact that you don't like something is very legit. Like that's why I say I don't like Court of Thorns and Roses. Not because I don't like the writing style, not because I don't think it's a solid book, just because it's not my style. And we can. Yeah. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge what these books are doing to the industry and how they impact the industry and how that means the industry is going to move forward. Yeah. Like since Red Tower into the scene, not to be too like, I'm not tooting any horn here, but they have changed the publishing landscape permanently. And what comes up from there is going to be very interesting to see,
For sure.
So yeah, we got to think about the bigger picture in terms of popularity and trends and all that sort of stuff. It's not about trends, it's about what you like. Find your niche. Yeah. If you like sci-fi right now, read it. There's never been a better time to be reading and reviewing sci-fi or books in general. Books are experiencing a renaissance period.
They are. Barnes & Noble is opening like 50 stores, though I wish it was smaller bookstores, but
I wish it was Borders. I miss Borders. Bring back Borders.
It's Blockbuster.
What? Sorry, do you miss the piss-smelling carpets in Blockbuster? Is that what you... The stale popcorn and piss smell?
Yep.
What exactly about Blockbuster do you miss?
Thing. And Redbox.
I never... That was...
Beautiful.
I wasn't alive, I don't think, then. I was in a deep pit of depression. I don't think I was around during that Redbox era. So there's like an era, there's like from I want to say 2012 to like 2016 where I don't know what happened. Like people are like, do you know Kesha? I'm like, kind of, like I guess.
Oh my God.
Party rock. You know what I mean? Like I just started getting into party rock.
All right. Well, hey.
By Laugh 'Em Out. So.
I started my life liking the Beatles and they had been broken up for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years.
Yeah, some of them dead, some of them broken up. Yeah, that's oof. It's bad when they're already they already kicked it.
They already kicked it. Great band though.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, they're a good band and they're touring soon, I think.
Yep. In 50 years they're gonna be touring legitimately and you're gonna be like, wait, what the fuck? Is that a fucking
Yeah.
Have you seen the holograms
like,
of
Tupac?
Like Tupac performing as a hologram?
I think that's so cool, but I also think, did you see Hatsune Miku? Do you know our Lord and Savior Hatsune? Hey, everybody, do you know our Lord and Savior Hatsune Miku? She's a hologram too, and I want her to perform with Tupac.
She lived.
That's my dream.
I love Hatsune. I can't speak.
Hatsune Miku.
Hatsune Miku.
I'm thinking Miku. Her and Godzilla are tearing it up in Fortnite, and that's how we're living in the future.
I've been having an urge to Fortnite.
Yeah, you should do Fortnite because I haven't been playing, but I've been having dreams about playing as Peter Griffin. And keep in mind, I don't like Family Guy, but I've been having dreams of playing Fortnite as Peter Griffin. It's kind of crazy.
That is so specific.
And he's so built. Have you seen him? He's really built in Fortnite for some reason. He's like weirdly buff.
I download that game to buy anime skins, and then I uninstall it after a week. Consistently.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
People are like Ready Player One. And I'm like, Fortnite. We don't need Ready Player One. We've got Fortnite. And I don't think people are ready to accept that. Huh?
Have you read Ready Player One?
I saw the movie.
You gotta read it. You gotta.
No, I can't. It's too much concentrated 80s iconography.
So
I don't think I'd get it.
I loved it, and I'm not from the 80s. It's so good. It's so good. Just think about it. Just put it on the list.
Okay. I'll think about it. Can I read the Fortnite book instead? Because the Fortnite is Ready Player One, but in real life.
You want to know a fun story about Fortnite books?
Yeah.
My library got a brand new Fortnite comic book in stock. Okay. And I got it because I'm a comic book guy.
Let's go!
Books, and I read it. And in the back, there was a code for a free skin in Fortnite. And I was like, they just got this book. What are the chances that I'm going to take this skin from like a 10-year-old who's going to read this book after me? I put it in, got that Batman skin. It was a Batman skin. And I was like, fuck yeah. You
stole a Batman skin from a 10-year-old?
Well, from a library that was In my defense, I know I don't have a defense. It was awesome, and I stand on it.
Cancel this man.
I stand on it. I don't
Destroy
let
this
out.
man. Kill this man. Stole a Batman skin from a Fortnite 10-year-old.
It's Batman.
That's crazy.
It's Batman.
Yeah.
I think the Fortnite 10-year-olds need to step down. I think they need to. I think they've had too much.
You're saying the 10-year-olds need to steal their mom's credit cards more, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Either way, you look like a villain. In
We
this case.
need a
There's
revolution. Let the 10-year-olds.
Let the 10-year-olds steal the credit cards.
Take the economy. Let them do it. Bring about.
Let them do it.
Steal.
The NFT bros basically did it. Why can't the kids do it?
The horsemen of the apocalypse are just gonna be the Fortnite 10-year-olds.
They better. I hope so. Usher in a new era for us, please.
At least make it entertaining. That's all I want. So
yeah, so Fortnite, cool, awesome.
Fortnite, cool, awesome. Everybody loves it. Which of your characters, and this can go beyond Heaven Breaker, but I just haven't read your other books. But which of your characters was the most
fake fan.
fun?
First of all, fake fan. Sorry,
yeah,
continue.
No, you're right. I'll put them at the top of the list. Okay, the trilogy.
Thank you.
But what was your favorite character to write in the story? Who do you have the most fun with?
There's a lot of POVs in this book. I thought we got to mention that. There's like quite a few. I would say there's 4. It's kind of 5, but not really. It's mostly 4. I really liked Morel. She was a very fun character because I always like basically Sonali is an anti-heroine.
Yeah.
But then Morel is the anti-heroine of the anti-heroine. So it's like I don't know if like two negatives make a positive, but she was really fun because she experienced everything that's not the main. You don't often see the effect that the main character has on people.
Yeah.
You usually just see the main character like carving through thousands of, killing and destroying and doing all this stuff, but you don't really see the effect. Morel is a character where you directly see the effect of what's going on and how the main character's choices are affecting her. So I really enjoyed her. I really enjoyed her perspective. She's a very cool character. She is probably the coolest lady I know because she never loses her idea of knighthood. She remains like dignified and by the code of the knight, even though her world is collapsing around her. And she's very strong and very fun to write.
I think that was. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off.
No, I was about to say she's not actually very fun. She's not funny or fun, but she is fun to write. So.
Yeah, I found myself rooting for her a lot, to be honest, because. You really, because you want to root for the main character, right? You're like, oh, main character doing main character stuff. But with her, I think you made me hate the nobility, the royals, all of them so much. And she was of that group who it was harder to hate because she was so adamant with her ideals and so honorable. And
yeah.
I think there's an interesting thing with her actually later in the book when she has her fight. Everybody in here, we are gonna unless Sarah says no, there are gonna be spoilers. Okay, you guys read this book last month. We read it in the month together. We talked about it in Discord. So there will be spoilers.
Spoilers.
Your own fault if you didn't read the book.
We give you 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Just kidding. 2 seconds.
3 seconds. I like 3. It's my favorite number.
Okay, 1, 2, 2.5, 3.
3. There we go. So later in the book, when Sonali and Morel are doing their little battle, Sonali overloads. And my question is, did Morel compromise her honor in that? Because I remember her hearing her father talk about messing with the settings for the steeds, and I know something about maybe stealing the handkerchief. So like, did she compromise, or is there something that I missed? What's the deal?
I don't know if she compromised, but she did let them go ahead with their plan.
So she didn't step in then. So it's kind of like
she didn't step in. Because it was her father, she was really conflicted about it because she wants her father to be honorable like she is until the end, because he's the one who taught her that. And when he decides to go through with it, I think at some point she just decides to turn the other eye and let her father's decisions prove to her once and for all whether or not he's really too far gone.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what happened. I think she genuinely tried to kill Sally the first round the legitimate way because she didn't want what her father had done to her steed to be true.
Yeah.
But it was in the end. So, yeah.
I think that's a really awesome moment for Morel then, because I think it both, it really, I think it tears the reader, because you're like, okay, she's been honorable and noble through this entire book, and then in this moment it's like, okay, well, she didn't step in, but at the same time she's being loyal to her father and to her house, and and having faith in them. So it's kind of
and they
like,
betray her. They betray her just like they betrayed Sonali.
And so it's kind of like a oh shit moment for her, because you're reading that and it's just like, okay, well, now what? Like what's gonna, how is she gonna, you know, react to that afterwards? And we're gonna get, you know, Hellrunner.
Yay! I'm working on it.
I'm jumping around. Is there any schedule for Hellrunner, or is it kind of just writing it and then figuring that out? That you can say.
There was. So there was, but last year, I lost my father to cancer. So, I've been just going through a really hard time last year. Don't really feel like myself. And it was really, really hard to write. It's okay. It's all right. Thank you very much for your concern. But, I think now that it's a new year, and now that I've given myself like a year to, you know, just not think about writing or not think about, you know, anything like that, it's been a lot easier. I'm writing a lot faster now, so that's really good.
Awesome. I'm glad you found your spark there and are getting back into it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's coming along much easier now. So
I know a lot.
I don't know. They have the cover already. They're mad at me because I don't know the manuscript.
The cover's awesome. But, or I think have I seen the cover?
Did you see it?
Is the cover? Hold
no,
on,
you haven't seen it. No, it's secret.
I haven't seen the cover. Okay, in my head, I like the cover. Maybe there's a placeholder cover or something. I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. It's red.
That's what I thought. So I feel like I saw something somewhere, but I don't know.
You might have. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know where I would have seen
something.
it. Maybe it was a while ago.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't tell me where they leak it, so I don't know. They just showed me, and I was like, "This is awesome." I haven't written it yet, but I'll get to that.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Is it gonna? Are you planning on doing a duology, or do you have?
Yeah, it's just a duology. Heavenbreaker and Hellrunner are a duology, but if all goes well, I think that the giant robot world, because there's 7 other stations, so we could do a bunch of other stations that have landed in different places.
Yes.
There's an idea I was kicking around with a station where it's landed on a water planet, and old school pirate ships are basically all they have.
That's actually cool as fuck.
Yeah, and so they have to have giant robots accompany, like there's one giant robot for every, basically the entire world is a salvage operation. And so they're trying to salvage
ships? Like horses and carriages? Do they like pull the ships?
No. So my idea, who knows, I don't know if this is going to be real. That's a cool idea, but the idea was that all of these pirate ships are basically competing for good salvage spots because of the station broke apart and fell to this water planet. So they're trying to salvage bits of it so they can recreate a space station and go up again instead of being stuck on this water planet. So all they have is like old school wood pirate ships, and the different ships compete for these spots. So if 2 ships come across the same salvage spot, they will compete, and the robots that they tow behind them, the robots get towed underneath the ship, will fight to determine who gets the salvage. And so they fight underwater, basically.
Underwater.
Because the
it's kind of like zero gravity. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Damn, you were good at this. You should be an author. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I am.
You consider that?
I have.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear it's a duology, because that means we will get a little bit of a closure to this these characters' story in the next book. And I think that a strong duology is it's nice to have those. A lot of great strong trilogies, but I think I just want to know more.
There's nothing else beyond Hell. There's Heavenbreaker and Hellrunner, and then
that's what I was thinking when I saw the title.
Limbo?
I was like,
yeah.
But
yeah, there's only 2.
Very cool.
So look forward to it.
I'm already looking forward to it. I was wondering, there was actually one question. I'm just jumping around now. Who cares? I'm jumping around. This is fun.
That's okay.
There was a question that someone from my community asked, and it was, where are you? From Alicia. Now, I imagine you go into this a little bit more in book 2, so you can say whatever you want or pass the question. But can you explain, like, how true AI works and like what it is to like to a kindergartner, because I think that was a little bit confusing to us, because with the enemy and we had a couple arguments in the book club. We were like, no, this is how it is and this is how it is. So
Okay.
I mean, what you can.
Sure. So true AI is the concept of AI that can think and conceptualize for itself. It's true AI in like the Isaac Asimov sense, where it's like I am a real human being,
Yeah.
but I am a program. False AI is basically what we have right now with open AI and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
False AI is what we have, which is a bunch of algorithms that are trained upon each other. So true AI is like a human being's brain that's basically data, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So a true AI is something that can think and determine for itself beyond trained algorithms, essentially.
Yeah.
Because it makes its own. So a true AI in the book is banned. True AI has been banned because they created true AI, but it took over a substation and crashed it into one of the moons of the gas giant.
Yeah.
And the shrapnel probably destroyed other stations. It probably wrecked a lot on the substation. It wrecked a lot on the station itself. Like it probably caused big shockwaves and did really bad stuff. So true AI has been forbidden because the monarchy is invested in Heaven Breaker. The monarchy is invested in keeping power to itself. So true AI is
monarchy,
a
yeah.
rival to that. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So false AI are everything that control basically the subroutines on the space station to keep it running. So things like maintenance programs, anything that can be programmed to help people's daily lives or to keep the station running, that is a false AI. It is helpful and it is very complex, but it is not truly independent thinking.
Yeah.
Basically. So if you're confused about the true AI inside of the dog, the true AI was created by Queen Asterix to make sure that Heavenbreaker, as it was growing, right? Because Heavenbreaker was growing inside of Heavenbreaker.
Yeah.
The enemy, was growing inside Heavenbreaker. The AI was created to keep its signals, basically scatter its signals so that it couldn't be detected by the monarchy. It couldn't be detected by the steedsmith. It couldn't be detected because these steeds are very well tagged and well tracked. So she needed something that could adapt and be there when she was gone, basically, to keep it safe. Because she knows that is the last hope for humanity. Heavenbreaker is the last hope for the station, more or less.
Yeah.
And there are reasons why are in the second book. But
awesome.
yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it.
Don't spoil it. Yeah.
You can put it together if you read properly. You can put it together in Heavenbreaker. But it is, well, not properly, but you got to be really detail oriented. Anyway, or delusional or quasi. I don't know. But I had people that were like, yeah, I could guess the twist right away. I know exactly what she's doing, and they got it, and I was like, dang, you're really smart. So every time somebody's like, I don't understand, I'm like, you might, I don't know, you might, but I don't want to spoil anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's the differentiation between true AI and false AI.
So the enemy and true AI are different things. The true AI was just using to cover up the enemy, basically.
To be perfectly honest with you, in book speak, the true AI is a red herring. The true AI is like a red herring for the fact that it is the enemy.
Okay.
But a lot of people immediately saw through that. So.
Okay, because we had a little. Our argument was like the enemy and true AI are the same thing, and I was like, well, are they?
No.
And so
they're not.
And yeah. And so okay, good. Now we're clear. We're clear on that. That's good.
Yay.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Yay.
I will take that victory chat.
I could have probably done it clearer, but.
No, I think it made sense. I'm extraordinarily dense, and I got it, so I think that's a good sign.
With the cat ears, you have at least like +5 more brain cells.
Yes, it is a buff. All right, so to go on the opposite end of what I asked earlier, who was your least favorite character to write? Who did you really not enjoy putting together, if anybody?
Parts of Sonali's were really hard. Parts of Sonali's were really difficult. It was hard to be in Sonali's head all the time.
Fair enough. It's a dark head. There's a lot of shit going on in there.
Yep. She's really sad. Parts of Rax were a bit difficult because I didn't want the romance to be so forward. I knew Rax was hard because I had to balance the romance very precariously, and so he was a bit difficult because I was trying to figure out his motivations at the start. But as soon as I started writing him, I was like, well, he's been abused, right? And he's he's trying to find freedom, and the only freedom he has is through writing. And so it all kind of fell into place. But yeah, some parts of Rex I had to reel back a lot because the publisher was like, more romance, and I was like, it's not gonna work in this book because she's sad. It's gonna be really weird if she's constantly thinking about how hot his butt is. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think you did it in a really good way because you can really tell that there's something there, but at the same time, she's got her priorities significant.
Yeah,
and like she's locked in.
It's less of priorities and more of like she knows it can't work. She knows it's pointless. Yeah. She knows it's futile, which is really sad. She's a tragic character, and so there's not a lot of room for like boinking in a tragic character. Fair enough. Typically speaking, unless you're Lord Byron. But other than that, like it's a bit difficult. So yeah.
On that note, is there going to be a little bit more of that romance stuff in book 2? Are you working on that, or is that kind of still going to take a back seat for? Okay.
No, the romance is going to be there. I think it's going to be really awkward because they are both very awkward.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it's going to be fun. Like that, like
yeah.
It's good to think about.
Yeah, they're dense. They're both dense for each other, and I think they work off each other really well. And that's one of my favorite things in romances, when they work off each other. I'm not very interested in writing romances where it's like one-sided because it's really boring to me.
It's also kind of like, ugh. Like, it doesn't satisfy. Yeah. Just like, yeah.
For some people it is. For some people they really like that sort of stuff. But for me, it's like, yeah, I need like I need dual POVs as well. I'm really happy that Red Tower let me do dual POVs because I think setting it in one person's head does not do romance justice. So
I definitely agree. I think those multiple perspectives are essential. You know, one of the reasons I started making content was because I was writing a book and I wanted to have an audience to promote it to, and I still want to write said book, and that's still something I want to do. But I have shifted more into the content element of things just because I've had more fun doing that at this moment in time. And so I do want to get back into the book stuff, but you know, dual POVs was something big for me too, because it felt like, how am I supposed to develop these characters together if I'm not developing them together? If it's just one person's developing and then you're being told what how the other person's developing instead of like actually seeing inside of their heads. So I think that's really good. And you know, there's one really cool part actually in this book that I think it was also Alicia. Yes, Alicia also was asking your inspiration behind the negative chapters, because the negative chapters were so fucking cool, because I didn't realize what was happening. I kept reading, and then I hit -10 and I was like, wait, what was the last one? Or I think it was -6. I hit -6 and I was like, wait, what was the last one I read? And I saw -7. I was like, it's counting down to something. What the fuck is going on? Wait, where? And then I started losing it. I was like, wait a second. What's happening here? So what made you do that? Where did that come from? Because that's such a cool thing to do.
Yeah, so that wasn't in the original at all. What happened was we were editing the manuscript, and one of the ladies who was helping me edit it, she was double checking the Latin, and she was like, do you have a list of chapter titles for me that you could send over? And I was like, sure. And I started looking at them, and I realized that Rain's chapters were, it was weird. His chapters just didn't feel right. I was like, what if we differentiated them? Because I thought about it, and I was like, he's basically off by himself. Like, there's nobody, he's not with the main crew. His story is not anywhere near the main crews, basically, even though he's orbiting around them, right? Yeah. So I was like, well, how do I differentiate him? I realized he was so different. I was like, well, what if we just inverted it? I asked her, I was like, hey, would it be weird if we put like negatives before his chapters so that when they meet it ends up at 0? And she's like, sure, that's fine. So yeah, we just roll with it.
I don't want to glaze, but it's just like, I'm so impressed. Like, thanks. Like, it's really the amount of thought that was put into this and the whole construction, all of it. It is really, really impressive to me. And
it better be. It took 2 years to write.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, it's cohesive and it's really well put together. So good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna go to so many questions. If you need to call it at any point, tell me and we can call it. But I just want to make sure.
No, I'm good. Let me just drink my water.
All right.
Let me just get my anime girls muscles going.
Okay, good.
Oh, I lost tracking. There we go. All right, now I'm ready.
Perfect. So back with the favorite and or most fun and most difficult. this is a two-part question. Most fun scene or part of Heaven Breaker to write, and most difficult scene and part of Heaven Breaker to write. Top of your head.
The most difficult scene? The most difficult scene, like emotionally, most scenes aren't very difficult to write, to be honest. They just happen. But emotionally, I think the construction of the in-between scenes are very difficult, because it's very difficult to drop a random POV in the middle of a story and have it still feel okay.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I would drop in a scene from like a lab tech's point of view, or sometimes I would drop in a scene from like a random guy's point of view, right? Like those, if you drop too many of them, they become irrelevant and they become pointless, and the reader, everything needs to matter. This book is written based on the idea that every scene, everything needs to matter. Yeah. There's no wasted space. And so it was hard for me to write those scenes in particular, because I knew that there was a very fine line between having the reader completely disinterested in this random man I haven't built up before, right? We have 4 other characters that we're following, right? Like we have a prince and 4 other characters. So those were the hardest scenes. Emotionally, the hardest scene was probably the end.
Did it make you cry? One of my other questions was, have you ever written something that made you cry, like while you were writing it?
Always. The end of a book should always make me cry. If it doesn't, I'm not doing my job right?
That's a great answer. Yeah. If you can bring the emotion out of yourself, you can bring it out in the reader.
No, I'm a crybaby. That's not true. But
also fair. I'm with you on that, to be honest.
Yeah. So the easiest scenes to write were probably the ones with Rax and Sonali, but also all of the ones with the robots. Every scene that has a robot is very easy to write, because I wanted so badly to describe all these cool robots and how they look and how they sound and how they, how what they look like. I was so excited for that. So those are the easiest scenes. The battle scenes were pretty easy, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it all feels so cohesive, right? That when you're reading the book as a whole, it kind of feels like the entire thing was the easiest thing for you to write. Like it all fits so well. Yeah. That it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Again, I don't want to be overdo it, but just great book.
Shout out to my agent, shout out to the editors, shout out to everybody that told me to take stuff out, add stuff on. Shout out most to my agent, who was like, you need to loosen up and have fun writing this. I can tell you're not having fun. And I was like, okay. She's doing that with me with Hellrunner too. She's like, you need to have more fun. And I'm like, alrighty, you got it.
That's me with content right now, because I started and it was really like a fun thing, just like let's have a good time, and then it got to an analytical point where it's like, okay, I gotta have a video every day, blah 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 blah. And so I'm really right now trying to channel that fun part of it again, to make sure that I'm not burning out. And it really is, because if you're having fun, it's gonna be your best work, because you're having a good time. Yeah, it's fun to do.
I would also suggest, like, to be honest, one example I can give you is like, say I'm a video game content creator, right? And I do one type of video game. Yeah. Just have a month for yourself where you play all the Shrek games. Like, just do something really weird and something that... Have you seen the guy who talks about, like, where Skyrim's rivers come from?
Oh my God, he does, like, all the math and stuff. I love him. He made an entire video about the end of Titanfall, and I was like, holy shit, this entire video is about one frame.
Yeah, like, I think you should do that with books. I think, like, you should think about how... Yeah, he's great.
I love him so much.
He does the GDP of, like, every Skyrim and stuff. He's awesome.
He's my favorite YouTuber, I think, honestly. Every time he has posted a video, I'm instantly watching it. I'm like, what did you do this time?
Yeah, he's really inspiring. I think you should take pages from the people that you enjoy and watch how they hybridize it, and then try and think of ways you can hybridize it yourself. Sure. You could honestly, for instance, since you're a dude in the book sphere, right? You could be like ranking all of your famous book boyfriends from most toxic to least toxic, right? Like doing an analysis video about like how that sort of stuff, like what is your unique perspective, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I might be a little bit biased here, because I am a straight man, but I have respect for a hot dude. And like Zane, right? I mean, I have a fucking cardboard cutout of Henry Cavill. Like,
yeah.
Also,
I see him back there. He's very scary.
He is. That is definitely chat's fault, and has nothing to do with me. But it's like Zayden Ryerson, Fourth Wing, my guy. I love that man. I want to rank book boyfriends just as book boyfriends.
I think you
I
should
feel
like,
like-
do a straight man's guide to book boyfriends or something. To be
Oh
honest.
my God, Maz, write that down.
Like that's you need to take your unique perspective and apply it to your medium, and you'll be fine.
I'm actually gonna make that video. That's you. You
Yeah,
are,
do that. And you
you're-
can credit me, and you can be
I
like,
will,
"Hey,
I will.
you got to show my book at the end."
I will 100%.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm gonna. You're just feeding me content. You're just okay. Thank you.
Yay! You're welcome.
All right.
Content creation's hard, but we're in it
It
together.
is. It is. But it is rewarding if you stick to it and have fun.
Yep.
So, I was originally gonna ask this question about Sonali, but I frankly don't think she would give a shit. So instead, Rax, who do you think, like, what 3 fictional characters do you think he would be thrilled to have at like a dinner date, like a dinner party?
Raxwood?
Yeah. Do you think he would vibe with anybody in any story, any medium? I imagine
Rax.
when writing him, there may have been. I don't know. I just started a sentence and didn't have it finished, to be honest.
Writing him, there may have been what, like inspirations?
Yeah, I guess inspirations like characters that you might have drawn on and that he would maybe get along with.
I just thought of the most himbo. I was like, I need this guy because Sonali's so serious. I was like, I need this guy to be not serious because 2 serious characters are really boring. They're so boring.
Yeah, it's fair.
To write, maybe not to read. Maybe people like serious on serious, but I absolutely can't stand it. So I was like, all right, himbo time, and I just made him the most. I made him basically like all the fun parts of who I think I am. You know, like all the most, one brain cell fun parts of myself, and I was like, that's him. I wanted somebody who was very carefree and himbo-ish, but very, very good. I think the attractive quality about Rax is that he's very, very good at what he does.
Yeah.
And that's his only thing, right? Like, sure, he can goof off as much as he wants. Sure, he can, like, make jokes and, like, pretend he doesn't care or whatever. But at the end of the day, there is one thing he's very serious about, and it is writing.
Yeah.
And that's part of why he likes Sonali so much is because he sees potential in her as a writer. If she didn't have that potential, to be honest, he wouldn't like her as much. Like, it's not a matter of like, fated mates. Like, this is reality, right? This is as far in the future as it is, it's reality. And reality is that we like people for different reasons. And so Rax, I think, there's nobody, like, I don't like putting real life celebrity men on pedestals because more often than not, they end up disappointing you.
It's true.
But I do really like Tom Hardy. And the reason I like Tom Hardy, like, he's not Rax at all, but Tom Hardy, I don't know if you know this, he went on a MySpace post rampage way back in the day. He rescued a kitten, or was it Facebook? I don't remember. He rescued a kitten from his set, one of the sets he was shooting at. And so he was live tweeting and live MySpacing about this kitten and how he, in his hotel room, he brought it back to his hotel room. In all caps, he was like, "They gave me a litter box. The right cheeky fella, he shit all over." You know what I mean? Just like being very Tom Hardy. This little lad loves pizza crusts. So Tom Hardy is my favorite because he is very much, I don't know. I like Tom Hardy. I think anybody who MySpace is about a cat they found is pretty okay.
Yeah, I love Tom Hardy. I was recently watching the Venom movies, and he brings such fun. I don't know.
Love those movies.
He's a great guy. Or
Did
from
you know
my
they have to-
parasocialness, I can say.
Yeah, they have to put concealer on his lips because they're too pink.
Really?
There's one director he works with in the Marvel universe. I don't know which one, but there's a rumor going around they have to put concealer on his lips because they're too juicy pink, and the director's like, I can't concentrate.
That's funny.
This film isn't right
That's so fucking
because
funny.
of Tom Hardy's juicy lips. It's pretty
Oh
funny.
my god, I love him. Henry Cavill's my pick, and that's just because thus far
He's too old. He's way too old. Rax is 20.
Oh,
21 and
no,
over.
not for Rex. Just as a celebrity person in the world.
Understood. I like Guy Fieri.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, like he's kept me every time I go to a convention, author convention, I put the TV on the network, Food Network, and Guy Fieri is always there for me when other people aren't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Real
then
friend.
Todd Howard, big fan of Todd Howard. He already has a wife.
Best guy. The fuck? Bethesda?
Yes. Well, he's part of Bethesda, but he created Skyrim and
Yeah. That's awesome.
And all those.
I didn't expect that.
he's-
That's awesome.
He's making Elder Scrolls 6. I say that it's both ironically and unironically.
Yeah.
Big
I
fan
want
of
6
Santa
so
too.
bad.
Santa's great. Love Dilfs.
Santa's great. Yeah, no. For sure.
Santa's probably the #1 in all of our hearts, even if we don't like to admit it.
It's true.
But yeah, other than that, it's just male celebrities tend to. Oh, Cillian Murphy. I want Cillian. This will never happen, but I want Dravik to be Cillian Murphy because I think Cillian Murphy's the only one who could pull off that much swagger while being half balding.
That would actually. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can really see. Somebody asked about actually. It might have also been Alicia. She had a couple questions.
Hi, Alicia. Shout out to Alicia.
Shout out to Alicia. It was it Alicia? Am I crazy? Hello? Huh.
He's lost, chat. He's lost. Get him.
All right. Well, somebody in chat, if this was your question, let me know after stream, and I will directly message her to tell you.
I can't believe you're a professional streamer. This is a sham. He's scamming you guys. He's scamming you, all of you.
I'm scamming. Somebody asked what like the age placement of Dravik would be, like how old he was, because they weren't. I mean, I think it might have been Vera actually. I think Vera asked what age he is.
At the time of the Queen's execution, he is around 18 years old.
Okay.
And so the book takes place 15 years later, so he's 19. He's 19. He's about Sonali's age when it happens.
Okay.
So 15 years later, he is like, I want to say late 30s.
Okay.
Thereabouts, late 30s, early 40s.
I'm 90% sure it was Vera. So Vera, there's your answer. If it wasn't Vera, you guys can viciously make fun of me. It's okay. I forgive you. So, cool. That's actually so cool. I had a question about like if you wanted to get it turned into a movie, TV show, or animation, and who you would be interested in having like taking part.
The
in
Arcane
that.
Studios. The Arcane Studio.
Yes.
So the reason why is giant robots are too expensive to do in CG. They're too expensive. Unless Guillermo del Toro himself comes down and is like, hey, I want to do this. I don't think there's anybody who will do it. I don't want Michael Bay to do it because it'll lose. Michael Bay's a different movie.
Just does.
He's not subtle enough for this book, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
No offense. He does great stuff, but not subtle enough. Guillermo del Toro could probably do it. Guillermo del Toro might get a little too whimsical with it, which is why I'm worried. This is why I want Mr. Peel to do it. But to be honest, the Arcane Studio could create some really cool characters, and the robots would be easier to make inside of, well, quote unquote, easier inside of 3D rather than trying to put CG in with real people.
Yeah.
So.
I think I want more book animation stuff because I'm a big animation fan. You're a big animation fan. I feel like it's underutilized, and I think
especially for giant robots.
Riot and Arcane really broke down some walls there, and it was like, oh shit, you can do this, and look at it. I mean, I have not seen season 2 yet because I'm scared and it's gonna hurt me. But
no, it's good. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I will watch this.
It's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna hurt you as much as you think it is.
Okay, I'll take that. I remember I adored season 1 so much, and it is undeniably innovative. And
it's very good. I have some friends still that they don't watch anything that's animation based, so like I understand. But there were people genuinely, my friends, who were like, never animation. I only watch real people things. They watched Arcane, so that tells you something.
Yeah. These ears are getting. Okay.
Oh, they're getting too much for you. I have to wear them every single day.
they're sliding off a little bit.
For you.
No, the vibes are good. The vibes are good. It's just the band. It's a little bit loose.
Okay. That's fine. I live with this curse.
Yeah, fair enough.
I also have to piss on trees because I'm a wolf.
That is something wolves do.
And bring in dead rabbits. It's becoming a problem.
Do you have a pack? Or are you a lone wolf?
I'm a lone wolf right now.
There was a lone wolf roaming in what was it, Washington and Oregon a couple years ago, I think. I was up in Washington at the time, and I saw about that, and I was like, that's kind of badass, and also kind of tragic, but kind of badass.
Kind of tragic, yeah. They usually die. They usually die within, I think, 1 to 2 years, unfortunately.
So it sounds cool, and then you're like, well, this is the reality, which is most things.
Yep.
I think it's like, that's a cool idea, then you think about it, you're like, well...
It's like, no,
it's actually kind of tragic.
Really. Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good answer. Arcane, that's great.
Arcane Studio.
Okay. Let me oh yeah. Okay, so the first thing I geeked out about. So we do weekly book club meetings, because what we do is we do one book a month, and then we divide the book into 4 and do one meeting a week.
Okay. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and one of the first things we did in the Discord call was talk about the first part, whatever. And the first thing I remember geeking out about was the winter aspect of this station, and how the rich people were like, we're just gonna flick this off and make it a holiday. And I was like, that is such a fucking awesome idea. Like that was you got some really good ideas in here, genuinely.
Thanks.
Where did that come from? Where did you get that? Because that was
I was thinking about the concept of seasons on the station, right? As well. When I was writing that point, I was like, do they have seasons? Like, is there points where like the heat cycles off? Maybe. Why would it cycle off? Probably to conserve power, right? Who makes that call? Where does the power get siphoned out of? And it would probably be the least fortunate, and the call would probably be made by the people up top. It's also your first introduction. It's very strategically placed because it's your first introduction to the cruelty of the nobility and of the ruling class to the poorer classes. So yeah.
It's well done.
Thanks.
It's one of those things where you read it and you're like, this is so cool, and then you think about it and you're like, this is horrible.
Yep, that's the whole book.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Oh no, this is awful.
The head shit, I'm still not over that. I am not. That was
It gets worse. Yay!
Chad's gonna be so happy about that, and I'm just like, I'm gonna love it, but I'm also gonna be like, But I think that's the most fun stuff, is because it's like, for me, it pushes my comfort zone, but it's also like, this is cool as shit, and like, this is interesting. I like that. If it's creepy, but it's also interesting, it gets my vote. Like, I'm with it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I had a question that was, can you give us like a hint or an out of context spoiler for book 2? But I mean, you do what you will with that.
Out of context, like completely?
Like, yeah, just anything that you feel comfortable sharing that isn't like a major issue sharing, I think.
Okay.
Have fun with it if you want.
So I would say that Rax is not doing too hot.
Rax. Rax, my boy.
Our boy has been perhaps writing a little bit too much.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So that's a spoiler.
I think that's gonna be.
Shall we say?
Yeah, that's gonna. I think that I'm excited to see what you do with him, because I think maybe he was my favorite because I'm a dude and I relate to him the most because he's a dude, and it's like, oh, dude time. But I think that character of, fun, traumatized and really fucking good at what he does is really interesting and really fun to read and play around with. So I'm really excited to see what you do with him. And I think
I will say that he is the best of us.
Well, fuck yeah.
And he is meant to represent the people who are most harmed by writing. He's made to represent like all of the bad effects of writing, and all of the bad effects of nobility fall on him. And that's why he's the best of us, because he keeps going despite it all. So I love my boy. I love Rax.
That guy was I hate that dude's mom. When she threw that shit at him, I was like, no, stop it. Don't do that to my boy. That's
Don't do that to my boy.
Oh, I love him.
The saddest part is that he's just used to it. Like, it would be different if it was new and he was like, oh shit, what are you doing to me? But he is so used to it that he's just like, okay. Like it's sadder he shrugs it off than that he reacts badly to it.
Yeah, and I think that obviously that trauma is really important and integral to his character, and really is seemingly a force of fuel and humor for him, because at the end of the book he's in that cell and he's like, I've been
He's
in
like,
worse.
what are you gonna do to me, man?
Like,
like
what
my
the fuck are
mom
you
does
gonna do?
worse, brother. Like,
I was
yeah,
puking
so
and
what?
shit
I'm
in the
naked.
corner. Like, what?
Like,
Okay.
that's cool. There's water. Nice. Like,
Yeah, nice. Like I love that.
like
That's,
I got locked in a steed with nothing for like weeks. Like, this is chill.
yeah,
like,
like
you know,
the
so
humor in the face of adversity. I think that's really a really fun character trait to have. So
yeah, he
excited
deserves
to
a
see
lot,
him.
and yeah.
Cool. All right, let's see where are we at. All right, I have some more audience ones.
Oh, nice.
We did also chat. If you have any questions that you didn't submit, you can throw them in chat now, and I'll get to them. When you were designing, also from Alicia, when you were designing the houses, was there one in the creative process that like stuck out to you that was the most fun to like create the lore or characters within? Favorite house?
Favorite house. I think that Ulrich's house, even though they're shitty, Ulrich's house is very cool because the idea that there is like sort of a it's terrible, but the idea that there's a broker, a family that acts as a broker for all these dead bodies is pretty grim. At the same time, it's like, who are these people? How have they adapted to that role? And I think when you are the most oppressive part of the oppressor, I think you have to sell it. I think you have to you either leave or you buy into the belief system wholeheartedly. And so I think that's where some of Ulrich's crappiness comes from, is his belief that he is a pure-blooded noble, that he is better than everybody else. Because if your family is dealing with thousands and thousands of corpses day upon day upon day, and you're involved in the family business, right? You're shipping these corpses off to be used. You start to get the idea that you're better than other people because your people are not treated that way.
Yeah.
Like, your house is not treated that way, so you must be better, surely. Like, there must be a reason why you're elevated above these people. Like, that is one path of thinking that you could deal with the horrific, because at the end of the day, it's still people, it's still bodies.
Yeah.
That is one way your brain could mold itself to adapt to these horrors, to make it acceptable to you, and to continue living on without having a mental breakdown. And one of those ways is accepting the idea that, yes, I am better than these people.
I think that's a fun, I don't know if fun's the word, but I think
it's terrifying.
It's terrifying,
because it's what people do every single day. They convince themselves that they're better than other people, and that's just capitalism, right? The boot heel capitalism. But they buy into it instead of critically thinking about it. They buy into it wholeheartedly, because to critically think about it requires a lot of breakdowns. It requires a lot of mental capacity, and not a lot of people have that. Like, to be honest, like, it's hard. It's a scary thing to do. So I think Ulrich's family is that in a way. So yeah.
It's a really interesting psychological thing, and unfortunately the only character that's coming to mind that I can relate to is like Draco Malfoy in a situation where it's like, I'm better than everybody. But like that type of, like, that kind of makes me like him and his house a little bit more. Not like actually, but like it just adds a layer of interest, and like, again, interesting things, psychology stuff that's very fascinating to me.
These nobles are not typically exposed to what life is like for everyone else. Like, it's not, we can hate them all we want, but the fact of the matter is they are the way they are because they are insulated. And I think Morel is a good Morel is getting the chance to see beyond it, right? Yeah. And Rax doesn't really see beyond it. He sees beyond it because he's been abused and because he understands that abuse is a thing. But he does not quite fully grasp what the class differences actually mean. So yeah, Ulrich's family is really interesting. He still chooses to be the way he is, but it is just an idea, of how he would respond to that. So
yeah, I love the answer, because I wasn't expecting that to be the answer, because I mean, they have obviously a massive part in the story, but like lore wise and just how the station works. But House Hautclair and there are these other houses that take much more of a center stage in story as a whole. So cool to show some love to the smaller parts.
The shitty guys.
The shitty guys.
Yay!
They get just as much love as the rest of us.
Yay!
Okay, so Rio had a question, and I want to add a little bit of a spin on it. They said, when did you know you wanted to be an author? And I want to add to that the VTuber author collide and how you got to this place. Life story. Go.
Okay, so I'll answer it in like 2 halves, I guess. Yeah. So how I figured out I wanted to be an author was when I was a kid, I would just sit down and write too much fanfic. And so by the time I graduated high school, I was like, well, I've just been pretty much training myself to sit down and write really long stuff.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd try and make it a writer's career. So it took me like, I want to say 4 years from the time I was graduated high school to about the time I was 22, to sort of figure out what exactly it means to write. And even now I'm still learning. Heaven Breaker was a big leap forward in my learning process, but, yeah, so that's when I knew I wanted to, because I couldn't think of anything else that I wanted to do or that I could do.
Yeah.
There was no other pathway but this. I think you have to be delusional. I think you have to be desperate and delusional in some sense to make writing work. I think there's a reason why a lot of good works come from people who are from disadvantaged backgrounds and who are from backgrounds that don't offer them a lot of security.
Yeah.
I would say that when I was first starting out, books were very much on the majority, a hobby for women who were married. A lot of my peers were women who were already married, who had a spouse that could support them.
Yeah.
And if they failed one book or they didn't sell one book, it wasn't the end of the world. It was an ego blow, but it didn't mean that they would be homeless. So for me, desperation is the greatest knife and the greatest pen. But I think it doesn't have to be that way for everybody. But I think that there's a certain je ne sais quoi you get from books that are written out of desperation and and by desperation, I don't mean like in a necessarily negative sense. I just mean in a place where you have no other choice. There's something very powerful about that you can't really artificially recreate.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the moment I knew I wanted to be an author, is there was nothing else for me but writing. And then until I turned this mysterious age, but then I found I got back into, during quarantine, I got back into a lot of the old things that brought me comfort, because I couldn't see a lot of my friends and I was very isolated and alone. And so I started getting back into the things I loved. So that included giant robots, and that's why I started writing Heaven Breaker. But it also included things like video games and multiplayer video games and playing with my friends. And I really do enjoy playing video games with people. I enjoy playing them for people. I enjoy playing them with people. I just really enjoy them. So I got back into them pretty severely. I did some face camming during quarantine around the same time too, because I figured, why not try to make a streaming career out of it? Yeah. And I realized that, oh boy, it's really hard to put makeup on every day. So it's very hard to put makeup on every single day. And I think women are held to a higher standard in general on the internet than, for appearance-wise, than men are. I think that's just how our society is, right? We want women to look put together. Yeah, especially on Twitch.
Yeah, I think it's as a straight man, you know, but I definitely can see that, and I think it's yeah. So as soon as I realized that, you know, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. You can't really. That's just how society is, and you know, it's not my place.
Someday it won't be like that, but for now, that's how it is. So I realized that since that was going to be part of my branding, like how I presented myself, what I looked like was going to be part of my branding. I didn't want that to limit me. Yeah. Because in a lot of ways, people are filtered by somebody. Like on a very basic level, humans are visual creatures, and you get filtered by people who don't look like you. You get filtered with people you can't relate with, right? Like I'm sure you guys relate to Gavin in some way, shape, or form, right? Like maybe he reminds you of a brother, or like maybe he reminds you of like some, you know, like some librarian, like somebody. There's something there, right? That we all resound with people when they do face camming.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get cheesy with it. I wanted to go even further beyond. I wanted to see if my charisma and my speaking skills and my personality would shine even though I was behind a creature that's not real.
They do. It's impressive, actually. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. So I started doing that, and I took a little break when my dad died. So, but we'll be rebranding soon, and I'm really excited. I wanna synthesize my author persona and my VTuber persona, because someday it's my dream to have me sitting in Times Square looking at a billboard of my VTuber self on Times Square. That's my dream.
Fucking awesome.
You know what I mean? Or like be on like a show and they're like, "This is you," and then they trot out a little figurine of me or something, and I'm like, "Yes, it is." So.
I think the coolest thing about that is how, honestly, especially in the last few years, realistic that goal has become with like the influx of anime and VTubing, and additionally the influx of books and book talk and all of this stuff. Like, I feel like it is definitely something that's achievable and really exciting to think about from an outside perspective, just to see that happen. And as a member of the Twitch gaming community and a member of the book community, it's really magical to think about that overlap.
Yeah, my goal is to get George R.R. Martin on the stream and be like, "Hey George, what do you think Guargura does in a book?" You know what I mean? Just show him a picture of a VTuber. She's like a shark VTuber, very famous. Hey, George R.R. Martin, what do you think, like, you know, Guargura does in a book? Like, that's my goal. Because he would love, I think he would love that. To be honest. But yeah, so like, I think another cool part about doing this as a VTuber is that since I create characters all the time for stories, it's fun to be in charge of my own character creation. This is just a temporary model right now, but I'm cooking something in the background, something that resonates more with myself and my branding. But it's fun to make characters. It's fun to express. It's just like a giant robot, right? Like the giant every single giant robot in Heavenbreaker represents the pilot inside. Like Rax is a bird, right? Sun Screamer, because he's been really abused and he's screaming on the inside, very edgy. But like it's bright red because
it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, it's bright red because he wants to show off, right? It's a bird because he wants to be free. Like every single robot has a meaning to it, and the same way every single VTuber has a meaning to them. So I'm really excited to create my character.
Hell yeah. Like this is I'm really excited to see it happen.
Thanks.
All right, I you did say one thing earlier that I thought was interesting, and you were talking about, you know, for a while there, books were like a wife hobby, and a lot of women and your friends in the past were in that situation where they were writing. And I know that with Sarah A. Parker, when I interviewed her and talked to her, she talked about that in the past, and how when the moon hatched, her husband they made a deal and took a really big risk, and he quit his job and took care of the kids while she wrote this book. And she talked about it, and it was so wholesome and beautiful to like hear this story.
She's very wholesome. She's very sweet.
And it's such a like and to find a man that does that, it's like this is amazing, and I'm so happy that she has seen the success she's seen, because she's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really happy to see, you know, the uptick in the book community and how things are going. And, you know, even when, you know, fucking New York Times articles are like, "Oh, is this dragon smut?" and, you know, categorize an entire series as one thing. It's like, that sucks, but, you know, it still is putting it out there more. And, you know, Onyx Storm broke records.
It's free PR.
Yeah.
Any PR is free PR, whether it's negative or positive. Like, that's one thing I've learned about content creation. Even if people are yelling at you and saying your shit sucks, like, people said Heavenbreaker sucks a lot. And I'm like, thank you for the free PR, ma'am. I really appreciate you.
It doesn't. But they're welcome to their opinion.
To be honest, like, to be very perfectly clear, Red Tower did market it as a romance fantasy, and I feel like coming off of the popularity, I didn't know that Fourth Wing was going to be so popular. Yeah. So when they told me that they were going to market it as a romance fantasy, I said, sure, fine. Like, it's technically a fantasy because the sci-fi is so far in the future, it's basically magic. Yeah. So I was like, sure, you can market it as that. That's not a problem. But I think people had a lot of Fourth Wing built up a lot of expectations in people, so that they were expecting almost the exact same thing, if not the same thing, from Heavenbreaker when it came out. And so it's like, it's not me, it's not my book that sucks, it's your expectations that were not met, and I'm very sorry. But my book rules and rips ass, so try again later.
That's fucking true. Yeah.
Right. So like, yeah, it's very, It is what it is. You know, it is what it
is.
is. But people are entitled to their own opinions. If they bought it, I don't have anything to say. Like I'm glad you hated it. I'm glad you loved it. Thank you for reading. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
You know.
End of the day, you know, like you said earlier, anything's that has popularity is gonna get hate too. So it's
Yep,
like it's
100%. The more you get popular, the more hate you're gonna get. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and
So
I'm just really excited, honestly, about the VTuber, that whole plan, because I think that, you know, I don't know if you know T-Dog VA and Iron Mouse. I love them as a duo, and she's amazing and she's great, and I think
yeah,
VTubers are awesome, and I think it's really cool to just blend those two things.
Yeah,
and you know, it's always nice to have something unique in a community
she's
that
very
makes you stand
sweet.
out. She is.
Yeah.
And I had a question just from a writer perspective. We're almost done. You're almost free, I promise. But
no, I'm fine. I've got a porta potty. No, I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
It's cool. No, it's fine.
I know that you were talking about a lot of the scenes, you know, just came out on the paper, and that's just what happened. But you know, with Heavenbreaker and Hellrunner upcoming, have you been experiencing like any writer's block, and what are your methods to overcome that, if you do even deal with that ever?
Yeah, I've been experiencing a lot of writer's block, I think, because I think I'm having too much fun with content creation. I'm having too much fun after 10-15 years of being alone and writing alone and having no coworkers and minimal interaction with humans outside of my friends. Writing is just sort of a grindstone I've always been at. So now that I've found VTubing and content creation, I'm putting my whole thing in that thing. Yeah. And it's a bit difficult to balance both of them, but I think at the end of the day, everybody has a different idea of, first of all, there's no one size fits all for writer's block, because there is no writer's block that's the same.
True.
Right? Like, we call it writer's block under an umbrella term, but in reality, it's a unique set of circumstances everybody experiences in different ways. And so I think it's really disingenuous for people to be like, I deal with writer's block this way, knowing that like everybody is a unique case scenario. I think in general, if you're having writer's block, it's because your mind picture is not clear enough. Your mind picture is not coming together in a clear way. Yeah. I think if you have writer's block, it's important. I wrote Heavenbreaker after I started watching Queen's Gambit, because Queen's Gambit is so tightly, it's a series on Netflix, but it's so tightly organized, and has such a clear story through line that you need to conceptualize your scenes and what you want from this story better. Why are you writing this? Yeah. Right? Like, that is why you have writer's block. It's because you're questioning yourself on why you are writing this. There's maybe some stress from your family is coming in. Maybe it's like, you know, maybe stress from school is coming in, but it is making you question, why am I writing this? And at the same time, that means that your obligations are pulled in a lot of different directions. And so your reasoning is not clear for why you are spending your time writing when you could be doing a bunch of other stuff. Yeah. Why are you writing at all? Like, why write? That is the question you have to face every single time you sit down. It's not just you don't just answer it one time. You don't just say, I want to be a millionaire, and then just be done with it, right? Yeah. You sit down every single time you write and ask yourself, why do I want to write? For instance, sometimes it's easier let me give you an example, because sometimes it's easier to conceptualize with examples. Yeah. But every time I sat down to Heavenbreaker, it was like, what can I write that kicks the most ass? Yeah. And that was it. So like, when you sit down, if you're having problems with writer's block, you need to ask yourself, you sit down and ask yourself a question. What kicks the most ass to you? Genuinely. Like, what? All of the cool parts, put them in. All of that other stuff, don't worry about the building. Don't worry about the tension. Don't worry about any of that. Write the stuff that kicks ass. And everything else is gonna fall into place. And just keep writing the kick ass stuff. Keep writing that. Think of the coolest thing you could possibly do and keep doing it. Because your unique perspective on what is cool is what will determine whether a book is good. Your unique perspective, you're only you. You're the only one that can think of things in the way that you do. So make sure that when you sit down, you're writing stuff that you think is cool, not anybody else. Like, who cares what anybody else thinks is cool? Sit down and write what you think is cool, and you will come out with a good book in the end. And that's just the baseline.
Fucking great answer. Yeah, I think, does that carry over into your writing process? Like when like, do you do a lot of outlining, or do you just write down the shit that you want, that's cool as fuck, that you want to make work, and then you make it work later?
I can't outline because my brain doesn't work like that. I have to sit down and sequentially write everything from start to finish.
Okay.
I have vague ideas of cool scenes that might happen later on. If I get a really cool idea for a scene, I'll be like, maybe Rax does a kickflip in this one. And then I won't elaborate. Like, I won't say what it really is. And so if I outline stuff, my brain goes, oh, you've written the book now. You've outlined it all. It's done. Look, you know the beginning, middle, and end. You don't have to write it. The questions have already been answered.
Yeah.
The book is the question. The writing is the answer.
I guess when you're writing, then you're discovering it as you write, which is more
Yes.
fun, I'd imagine, than having a whole
For
you know,
me,
structure.
some people don't like it like that. Some people like set rules, set synopsises. But for me, if I don't have a constant surprise waiting for me, I'm very bored. So
I think I'm with you on that when it comes to writing, because you want to experience the story like the reader's going to experience the story. Like it, like you're telling the story, and the characters tell it, and you're just the one transcribing it. And I think that's awesome. And I think that also how you're describing writer's block, I think that honestly, it's just, in general, it's a block. I think in every niche of creation of artists, there is this creative block where you have to be like, wait a second, something's not working, and I need to figure out, like, why am I doing this? What is my reason for making videos? Why am I making this painting? Why am I writing this book? I think
it's existentialist horror. We should call it what it really is. It's not writer's block. It's existentialism.
Yes, it
right?
is.
Like, why bother doing anything? It's writer's block is the equivalent of girl rotting, bed rotting, right? Like,
it forces humans to be human and be like, wait a second, and stay in touch with the reason for
someday
creating.
I'm gonna die. Someday I'm gonna freaking kick it. And what will I have left behind?
A legacy.
What will
as a famous
not a legacy.
VTuber author with
legacy is so no. That's
All your
George R. R.
dreams.
Martin. That's your next. Sorry, that's your next interview. That's
true,
George.
true, that's
George is interested in legacy. I have no interest in legacy.
That's true.
I have interest in kicking the most ass. And having the most fun. George is not necessarily a fun man. He is a legacy man, though. And he does have fun from time to time. But his writing is focused on legacy and stuff like that. But if legacy is what you want, then go for it. But at the end of the day, you're not to be too deep, but we're all going to die. So you better make it fun. And part of that is writing, and part of that is taking the chances, because you're gonna regret. Don't live your life in regrets, man. If you're like, hey, maybe I should write a book. I'm gonna regret it if I get. You don't know. You're gonna get Alzheimer's. What if you get Alzheimer's? You won't be able to write a book anymore. Like Terry Pratchett. Terry Pratchett got Alzheimer's when he was in his end days, and like I bet you $1 million trillion the one thing he regretted is that he couldn't keep a storyline straight in his head anymore because he kept wanting to write. So like, do it now while you can. And that way you don't regret it later on in life, you know? Tomorrow's not guaranteed, baby.
Yeah. It's powerful.
Sorry, not to get too deep. That was existentialist horror, but you know what I mean.
My next question was, you got me on a path where I'm like, do you want to just live your life and have the most fun and you don't care what happens after you die, or do you want to leave something behind? But you said you don't really care about legacy, so it seems like you just want to have a fucking fun time. Because like whatever.
I just want to have a good time. I mean, in a way, books live forever.
True.
Like, books live forever. Ideas live forever in people's heads. Even if the books doesn't survive, even if all of the Heavenbreaker books were burned, the people who read them are still alive.
It's true.
And my ideas have sparked ideas in them. So that's legacy to me. Like, it's not about like the money and the manor and like the big statues or like the big accolades or the awards or whatever. It's about the fact that I have inspired other people to do cool stuff.
I think that's how I was picturing it, to be honest. The legacy of leaving a memory behind that you influenced and helped shape something and change the world a little bit. And, you know, like,
maybe my definition of legacy is lacking then. Yeah.
Like Tolkien with Lord of the Rings. It's like, that was fantasy. And now
that was his way of coping, actually. He came back from the war and he was like, I need something nice. I need something to make sense. Ever since somebody told me that he was fighting in the war, in the First World War, I was like, or first? I think it was second, sorry, I was like, oh dang, that makes so much sense, because that Lord of the Rings is basically a very clear-cut good versus evil,
Yeah.
like very cozy at the same time, good versus evil. There's meaning, there's God. He definitely popped off. That was his own personal therapy,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
He's a genius.
Yeah, but
I want to say thanks to
we love
Atlantics
him.
real quick. Atlantics CS just dropped a follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. Yeah, him and C.S. Lewis, because they both were in war. Well, they weren't in war together, but they went to war and then wrote, genre definers. And
both very interested in the idea of God too. And I don't know what it is, but like,
yeah, I know C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis is
super religious.
undeniably. C.S. Lewis is undeniably super hyper religious with his writing, so there's no escaping that. I think the horrors of war make you really consider that sort of stuff and hope that there is
for sure,
hope that God is there. So it's interesting. Big cornerstone writers very often challenge the ideas of like God or the very existential, very big questions. So
yeah. I think that was one of the I just in history really admire their friendship because of Tolkien was as far as I know he was more of the spiritual side than the hyper Catholic Christian side that C.S. Lewis was.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of interesting debate between them, and there's a funny story that I know about them where C.S. Lewis wrote an entire book from the perspective of a demon because Tolkien hated writing from the perspective of evil people, and then he wrote the entire book in Tolkien's least favorite writing style. And I was like, that's funny as shit. That's like the best troll to do to your best friend.
trolling each other and just having a good time. Yeah, for sure.
That's fun.
There's I don't know, I don't remember it. Oh god, is it Hans Christian Andersen? It might be Hans Christian Andersen. Hans Christian Andersen was obsessed with another writer, and I don't remember who, but there's an anecdote that Hans Christian Andersen way back in the day stayed over either I don't remember. I know he was involved. I know Hans Christian Andersen. I don't remember which one when he was, but I know that he stayed over at somebody's house back when it was like in vogue to stay over at people's houses for months. So it's like, I'm coming to visit, and then you stay for months and you eat, very old school style stuff. But apparently he was very deeply obsessed with this other writer. I forget who it was. It was Hans Christian or somebody else, but I'm going to remember it in the middle of the night. He was very deeply obsessed with this other writer. And he was so obsessed that he would go out and he would get drunk and he would just be a menace. He was a menace to this writer's family while he was there.
God.
He literally got drunk, passed out on their lawn, and crapped himself.
Oh my God.
And there's letters of this where it's like, this guy was so freaking annoying. He stayed over, but he writes children's books, so he writes fairy tales. And
that's wild.
Yeah, I forget who it is. It's Hans Christian Andersen, somebody, I forget who, but there's a lot of famous duos like that where they're just weirdly humanly entangled with each other, and we don't really see that because all that remains is their stories, and we put those on pedestals, but they are very much human. I mean, you've seen the James Joyce letters, surely.
Enlighten me.
Okay, chat, don't look up the James Joyce's letters if you better not be in here if you're under the age 18. Also, don't look up those right now. But anyway, James Joyce, writer of Ulysses, right, very famous book, has a bunch of raunchy letters that he wrote to his mistress, and like
I've heard of this.
Yes, and like at the end of the day, I think what people forget is that writers are people. We're people, and they were human. And you can put Ulysses on a literature professor pedestal as much as you want, but at the end of the day, he still wrote about how much he liked his girlfriend's butt. You know what I mean? So like, it's like writers are human, and they will always be human. And dividing them from that and putting them on pedestals is a very dangerous thing to do. And I think it's disingenuous to the writing and the art as a whole to divorce them from who they were as people. So it's always important, I think, to look at our favorite authors and look at how they behave themselves in public. Even modern authors, right? Like modern authors, how they behave in public, what causes they support, like what causes they support with their money, what causes they support with their beliefs. These are all important things we have to take into consideration when we go forward reading books, because it's disingenuous otherwise, right, to ourselves as readers. But hey, at least I didn't shit anybody's lawn yet.
Yes. Mia Lopi, thanks for the follow. Welcome in. I think that's a really cool thing that, has to be remembered even beyond writing. I keep taking your point and then expanding it to the greater world, just because I think in writing, like, every creator of something is a person. I think a lot of people forget that, and I think the internet has served to you know, exasperate that. And you got like parasocial stuff with creators, and it's like, okay, at the end of the day, these are human beings who, like, when you look in the mirror, they also look in the mirror and they see themselves, and you see yourself. And you know, something that I had to learn, you know, growing up, is that when you're a kid, you think that like, oh, firefighters have everything figured out, like all these people who are adults, they know everything that's going on, they have the perfect solution to everything. And then you become an adult and you're like, oh shit, everybody's kind of just winging it and just doing their thing as a human, because everybody's in the same human experience of being alive. And I don't want to say same experience, because but you know what I mean, that everybody's alive and has their own shit. And it's like, no one is the perfect person to look at and be like, oh, this is like someone who has it perfectly figured out. Like, everybody has something. And I think that it's really needs to be remembered that, you know, creators, authors, artists are human too. And you know, a lot of big creators like Jacksepticeye and these guys who have a lot of mental health issues are very public about it too, because like some people are ruthless on the internet and act like, you know, we aren't humans. And it's like,
I think authors as celebrities is a particularly insidious belief, because a lot of times authors are socially awkward, socially inept, I would say. A lot of them are socially inept, and they're very insular, and they're very insulated in their own beliefs. They're not people that have gotten a lot of PR training. They're not people that have gotten a lot of like media exposure, unless they're very famous, right?
Yeah.
So expecting and treating authors like celebrities is dangerous, because these people are, the bar for being treated like a celebrity is to write a really famous book, and that's it. There's no other bar. Whereas celebrities, when you sing and dance well, when you go to Hollywood, when you become a celebrity, when you get an agent, you don't know what you're signing up for, but you have a better idea of what you're signing up for. Right? You're signing up for like the invasion of privacy. You're signing up for the parasocialism. There's an expectation of that in places like Hollywood and in places like the music industry. But when you look at books only just now are creating this weird vortex of celebrityism around authors. And all I can say is that celebrityism is bad, but it is especially bad when applied to authors, because a lot of these people are fallible, as we've seen in the past couple of years. And a lot of these people are, at the end of the day, just people who wrote books. That's it. They wrote books, you like them. And that does not mean that they are better than other people. And it does not mean that they are no better. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that you are entitled to their time and energy just because they wrote you a good book. Right?
100%. Yeah.
It's like George, right? George has got problems because people are demanding the winds of winter, right? Like, at this point, like, he's never gonna write that. Like, he's never gonna write that, because he's never gonna write it, because people are asking, like, they expect it, they demand it, and that's not how art is. That's not how art is. Especially when you're that big.
He's never gonna live up to what people expect either. It's impossible.
Yeah, and exactly,
unfair.
and like. If you're at his point where you don't have to write anymore for a living, you don't have to constantly churn out books for a living to make ends meet. Yeah. He can take as long as he'll never do it. And I hope he never does it. The way you people act.
That'd be kind of badass.
I hope he never. I hope he goes to the grave, and I hope that his kids unearth the manuscript and publish it like 20, 30 years later.
Like Tolkien.
Just to make you guys way more.
It's so brilliant. That's funny as fuck. Yeah, you just go out blue ball on everybody. It's like, I'm not fucking giving you shit.
No. He would earn my utmost respect forever for that.
I have to say, yeah, and I like Game of Thrones, like fucking, I adore Game of Thrones, but you know what? I think that would be badass as fuck. That would be really cool.
That would be very him.
That would be great. Yeah, I think you're very good at speaking and expressing your thoughts and opinions, and
thanks.
I think you have a good head on your shoulders, which sounds really like. That sounds like what a dad says to someone, so I don't want to say that. But like,
okay,
it's
Dad.
Fun, it's fun to talk to you. Is what I'm trying.
Thanks, Grandpa. Let's get you to bed.
Grandpa, no, they already. Okay,
right,
everybody in chat has decided to call me. Like, I have become a 75-year-old lesbian grandma somehow. I'm not sure how we came to that.
I can see it.
You can see it.
Yeah. Sometimes people just got aura. You know what I mean? People say that I have like a teenage boy aura, and I'm like, all right, cool.
All right, I mean,
so.
Yeah, it's the beard, honestly. If I shave the beard, people will look at me different, and so I have to have the beard. It gives me too much. It does too much for me.
Yeah, if I shave my entire head, people would also look at me different, I think, probably.
It's Fair point.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Faye grandma. Yes, Evs. All right. Well. Unfortunately, and I mean this genuinely, unfortunately, I am out of questions. Apart
Thank
from
God.
you're finally free.
God.
You're free.
I've been freed from this fairy geese. Finally,
Yeah,
you can
jeez.
release me back into the wild now that you've captured me. I gotta go back to my wolf pack, man. I gotta go write a book in my little wooden hut with my stick pencils and my parchment.
Yeah, it's been too long. Lone wolves. You can't be alone too long.
Can't be alone too long. I'm making ink out of bear secretions. It's awful out here, but I'm doing it.
Secretions?
Bear
Jesus.
secretions. Did you
It
know
works.
they plug up their buttholes with grass when they go to hibernate?
No.
Yeah,
That's
so when they go to
fascinating.
hibernate, they don't want to shit and piss. Like, sorry about all the piss talk, guys. It's just a lot of times
Whatever.
I've got the brain of a teenage boy. Anyway, so when they don't want to dookie all over themselves because that'd be germs, right? So they eat a lot of grass, just grass right before they go in, and then it plugs it up so that they don't do that. And when they wake up, they're clean.
That's actually really interesting. That's pretty
Yeah.
fascinating. Well,
The more you know.
the more you know. The last thing is just like, is there anything you want to promote? Social media, anything like that?
Yeah. Follow me on twitch.tv/sweatyhug. I'll be rebranding very shortly. Other than that, Twitter is a hellscape with which we all cannot escape. So sorry, but I am on Twitter at Sarah Wolf _ Wolf 1 because somebody took my original one.
That's fucked up.
Something like that. So yeah, go follow me on Twitch and Twitter, and I will see you. Oh, I'm also on Instagram. That's where I get all the pretty pictures. So Instagram.com/author Sara Wolf.
Yeah,
And Hellrunner's coming soon.
Yeah, everybody's spamming me for release date for Hellrunner, but between now and the end of the decade.
a generous estimation, probably like December, November.
All right. So you're thinking
being
maybe
really
if you
generous.
can this year.
If I can, I want to finish it by April, and usually book production is 6 months out. So you do the
All right.
math.
Hey, if you do arcs, let me know. But
I won't. That's my PR team's job. But like,
that's a
thanks
fair
for.
point. That's actually a fair point.
Yeah. Like, that's not my job. I don't get paid.
I did see PR packages for Heavenbreaker go out actually.
Yeah.
A while ago. So that makes
There'll
sense.
probably be
Yeah.
PR ones for Hellrunner
Tower,
too,
yeah.
unless my company's really pissed at me. In which case, you'll know.
Yeah.
Yay!
All right. Cool. Well, it's been an
All right.
absolute pleasure talking to you. This has been so much
Yeah.
fucking fun. I was nervous, but I'm always nervous because it's just nervous to do stuff like this. and
You
talk to
gotta
new
get
people.
it together, but George is coming next week. You gotta
No,
get it together.
George, I'm gonna
Like
lose my
you gotta.
shit.
I was small fry, man. He's gonna talk about the length of broadswords and like the exact hilt and the temper. You gotta get in it. You gotta get your head in the game, man.
I gotta go on Wikipedia and I have to start
You
researching
gotta go.
broadswords.
You gotta go.
So I can
You
impress
gotta
him.
do it.
I really have to
Yep.
make him see me.
You gotta be like, actually, did you know that wyverns only have one pair of legs and the arms and the legs, and then dragons are 4 legs, and then they have
Yeah.
wings plus that?
I think he'll be
So you gotta
impressed.
He will love that because that's never been sent to him before.
Never. This is an original thought.
That's a very original
Sarah
thought.
Wolf
Yeah.
original thought.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Gavin. Thank you very much. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Gavin's audience. It has been fantastic to have you. I hope that wherever you go, you stay safe and well. And
Yes.
remember that we are all in this together, and hope is more powerful than despair. Take care of yourselves and others.
Yes. All right. Bye. Have a good
All
rest
right.
of your day or night, evening. It's night.
Bye. Have fun, everyone. Bye.
Let me add my camera back to OBS. Okay. Now, wasn't that fucking fun?